All right, everybody, welcome to the Whispers in the Fog podcast, which is definitely not the Killer Main podcast. Today, we're talking about accessibility in Dead by Daylight. Honestly, it's in gaming in general, but it's a Dead by Daylight channel, so we're talking about it for this game. If my guests would like to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Chey. Yes, Chey is pronounced Chey. It's short for Cheyenne. I play a lot of Dead by Daylight, and I'm a huge advocate for accessibility in this game. You've probably seen me yapping about it on Twitter or YouTube. I'm a survivor main, but I dabble in a little bit of killer. And I'm a VTuber. Sometimes I have my face cam on, and I don't know what else to say. I'm awkward.
all that will be linked below. I see you yapping. I hate using the word yapping, but I mean, you talk about it at least like a lot on Twitter. And I know you made that post the other day about coming off annoying about it. I don't think it's annoying at all. I like that. Passion can be misconstrued as annoying, I feel.
I'm glad you don't think it's annoying, but well, some people definitely do with some of the responses I get.
There's a line, I feel like, if you're literally like DMing people about it every single day, or let me rephrase that. If you're DMing one person in particular every single day about it, or like every comment you ever make is only about it, maybe, but it's not the only thing you talk about it, but it's something you're very passionate about, and something the community has a lot of backlash about, which we'll get into here in a second, but because I know I brought up, I think I've mentioned it to you on Twitter. Anytime one of these phobia filters get mentioned, sometimes, because obviously specific killers like Plague and even Blight or Singularity or Toba Landing and things like that, it gets brought up. And if I even mention phobia filters, I get at least 10 comments telling me I just want the game to be like a blank slate with like just polygon squares in it.
Oh, yep. Yep, I've heard that one before.
which is I think people misconstrued, like, when I say a phobia filter, because I think Blight's a good example, right? Because the issue with phobia filters in particular, because even I've been on the side of, while I would love phobia filters, I understand the problems with them and why it would not be an easy thing to implement. And one of the biggest issues with it, I feel, is, do you know what the slippery slope argument is?
No, I don't believe so.
So the slippery slope argument, it's an argument, it's a fallacy, technically. It's when you say that something can't be done because of how far it could possibly go. So
I see.
So it's like, okay, well, we have a phobia filter for Plague, right? Because of the puke. Okay, well, should we add a phobia filter for Blight because of the needles? Okay, do we add a phobia filter for Howlmaster because of the dog? This is not me saying this. I'm just, that's where the argument can possibly go. It's like, okay, where does the phobia filter start and end, basically? And the argument for some people that I've seen comes down to, well, if we add a phobia filter for one thing, we would have to have it for everything. And then the question becomes, what is the line, basically? And I think...
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I hear that brought up a lot. Like, if I say, oh, let's get, like... It'd be nice if there was arachnophobia setting, then someone was like, okay, well, what if we just delete, like, I don't know, every, like, tree? I'm like, what? What? But yeah, I've definitely had people, like, bring things up like that before.
Well, because the other argument is for a game like Subnautica. I have extreme, I'm going to mispronounce my own phobia, but I have extreme traptophobia, which is the fear of open water, which basically means I am not allowed to play Subnautica.
You're not the target audience.
Right. And I think that's the misconstrued notion of for Dead by Daylight, because the argument is it's a horror game. It's supposed to be scary, so phobias should be in it. But I again, the same argument could be made in the reverse, where that's where the line is, I feel, where it's, while it is a quote unquote horror game, a lot of horror games also have phobia filters.
I was just about to say that. It's almost standard nowadays that horror games have like arachnophobia settings. Some even have settings to like prevent jump scares, or like horror games are, I don't think they rely on phobias or people like not being able to, you know, access them. That just, I don't know. Like, it's not like we're playing Killer Clowns with a phobia of clowns, right? Like, there are so many different killers in this game. There's so many different maps. There's so many different charms. I'm bringing this up because there's like spider charms, spiders on maps, like things like that, where you can't really account for. Like a lot of things you can control on your end. It's just like, oh, if there's one killer I have a problem with, does that mean I shouldn't play this game when there's how many killers in it?
Well, that, and at the same, like, because the argument is often you signed up for it. Basically, it's there's a word for this argument. I forget what it is, but it's basically like you took the risk by turning the game on, basically. But the issue with that argument is, like you said, you don't know which of the 40 killers you're going against. And if you only have an issue with one of them, then it's not like, it's not fair that there's not a way to kind of adjust the game in a way to help you with that one particular issue. That is, I'm going to use this because technically the clinical term is this, because of the irrational fear of said thing, whether it's needles or the sound, or even the visual of puking, spiders, clowns, dogs. Fun fact, by the way, because I didn't even know this until recently. Did you know that dogs are the third most common fear in the world?
I'm scared of dogs. Like, genuinely, like, dogs scare me. I've been bitten by like random people's dogs like 4 or 5 times, and I've been scared of them since I was a kid.
I didn't know it was such a common fear. Honestly, I knew it was a common fear, but I didn't know it was that high up on the list.
Is it higher than heights?
No. Well, I think the number one is flying still.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember this from like a article I read months ago. It's number 1 was public speaking. Number 2 is heights. Number 3 is dogs. Number 4 is clowns. Number 5 is spiders. Number 6 is snakes.
What about fear of the dark? I feel like that'd be up there too.
It's not as high as you think it would be.
Huh.
Well, because the poll is mostly done for adults. Not to say that some adults aren't terrified of the dark, but that's usually a more. God, I sound so bad.
You see it a lot in like adolescence.
Mm-hmm. I mean, cool, because fear of the dark is also that goes into the idea, is it the fear of the dark or the fear of the unknown, and some people would classify that as 2 different fears, and
yeah,
like the scariest thing the scariest thing isn't the spider behind the door, it's the fact that you don't know what's behind the door.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like these settings that could be put in, because I think clown is a good example, because you brought that up with the killer clowns one. Is the question is, okay, well, if we do add a phobia filter for something like that, how do we even do it? And the simple solution for clown is, well, there's 2 in my opinion. It's either A, make it so he has one of his skins on by default, like the Chicken Man skin, or the better solution, and probably the easier solution, just make him low poly. If you like, honestly, that would solve it.
Yeah.
Not fully.
Yeah, but that might. It might. I don't have like a phobia of clowns, so it's hard for me to say myself. But if like, what if from the survivor's point of view, like they just saw the Mr. Puddles skin, like, I don't know, like that's licensed. Is that licensed? Actually, I don't know.
No, Mr. Puddles isn't licensed now.
Okay, so like, I feel like that would be something that wouldn't be too difficult to do. I guess I don't know the programming behind it, like the killer choosing one skin and the survivor seeing another. I feel like that might be more difficult than like I would think, or other people might think. But I feel like that's like a path that they could try to go down to resolve this, because like phobias of clowns are pretty common, and clown also has other accessibility issues. Like, I get motion sick when I face clown, even with all the changes that they've made, but I get motion sick super easily. I know not everyone falls under this with me. But But like even if I'm getting hit with those bottles repeatedly, like or if I go against like 2 clowns in a row, then I start feeling like really sick and I step away from my computer for a while.
Mm-hmm. And I know Doctor gives you a lot of issues as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I usually play muted against Doctor. There's 3 killers I play against muted, which you might be like, wow, Chey, what a weird game to play full time if you have to play against 3 killers muted. But you know, it is what it is. Doctor, I get like migraines and he is super overstimulating for me, so I usually am able to play muted. But unfortunately, there's a visual bug right now that triggers my migraines.
Mm-hmm.
I've had migraines like my whole life, and if anyone is photosensitive or prone to seizures, you might want to start DCing against Doctor like on site, because in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think it's been 3 or 4 weeks now actually, there was a bug that randomly came where his power is like almost reverted on the survivor's end to what it used to be. I didn't play back then, but this is what everyone's saying. Where the static takes up more of the screen and it like flickers and pulsates. Yeah, it might have been since Tokyo Ghoul. And for me, it happens so often and it takes up so much of the screen that I can't play muted against him anymore because it does give me a migraine. I stuck it through one game and I had to stop playing with my friend and like just rest for like an hour or two. And I had a few people in my community who are prone to seizures say that this causes issues for them and they have to DC on site of hearing Doctor. And you might be like, Chey, that's not a bug, because people were arguing with me saying it's not a bug, it's working as intended. But the Dead by Daylight account responded to me on Twitter saying that it was a bug, and it was supposed to be fixed in this last hotfix, but unfortunately it wasn't. So it's still in the game. Hopefully it gets resolved soon, because I was really hoping that it like wasn't an intentional change, because it feels like it's going super backwards on accessibility, especially when there's supposed to be accessibility changes coming in the near future.
Yeah, I know that the only ones I've heard them mention are, it's mostly been the gamma change. It's really the only one they mentioned, isn't it? And colorblindness.
That's the one that I've heard, but like for the health settings, or for the health like changes and the fact that they mention accessibility, I really hope it's more than just you can make your game a little bit brighter, especially when they were like nominate us for the most accessible game of the year last year. I'm like, sorry, I love Dead by Daylight. Like, I'm sorry, this isn't like any shade, but what?
Well, because even the Doctor thing, like even if we're not talking like specific phobia filters, right? The Doctor one I think is a good example to branch off to the audio settings in this game, because even taking accessibility out of the conversation, the audio settings in Dead by Daylight are some of the most, how do I want to put this nicely, rudimentary audio settings I've ever. Why is there only an audio setting for the main game and the menu, and that's it?
I can't even mute my blood points. I mute the whole game to spend blood points.
So do I. Sometimes I forget too. I feel bad when I do it, but like
sometimes I'll load into a match and I'm like, why am I muted? Oh, I was spending blood points.
it's like I think Libby actually has it. I think Libby actually has it hotkeyed to do that for him when he gets out of match.
Honestly, I need to set up a hotkey, because there are certain killers that like I mute against, like I said.
But again, like an audio, like a simple audio setting would fix that whole issue, and it wouldn't affect really that much, because the argument for the clown one, and I used to be a clown main. The argument that some clown players, some that a lot of actual clown players don't agree with, would say was that, oh, well, the disorienting effect was very important for clown's balancing and would cause him to get... No, it wouldn't. No, it would cause you to get hits against people that are actually affected by motion sickness. That's it. Everyone else, it didn't affect at all. So you're literally just you're literally just banking on people like getting motion sickness or like actually having like physical issues with it to get a hit, which is not.
Yeah, I feel like if your power relies on someone getting physically ill playing a video game, that it might not be as well designed as you might think.
My solution.
And maybe we should leave that in the past.
My solution for that one was always just make it so I don't know how good or bad this would be, but I've always suggested that when you're hit with clown's bottles, it reverses your controls. So W is S.
That would be
S is
interesting.
W. D is A is D. And it would
Would
only
it still would you still want it to hinder? I feel like that's a lot.
I mean, well, no, because the thing with the reversing controls is if you're like once you get used to it or like anticipating it, you can play against it, right? It would just be like a couple like maybe a half second of panic, right?
I just feel like Dead by Daylight is already so unbeginner friendly that it might be like way too much for new players, right?
Maybe.
But it also could be super fun to watch their reactions. And like, ah! Like, what do you mean? Playing Clown would be hilarious. People just start running into you like all the time.
I just because the argument I hear for especially like when it first happened, like when they toned it down a bit was Clown's bottles, like the disorienting effect is supposed to be thematic, right? And the thing with that is similar to Pig's gameplay, there is a line to the thematic of the game, right? And that was my way of like adding that disorienting effect in a gameplay manner that wouldn't actually affect people physically. At least I'm missing something. Maybe it could, but it could become a little overwhelming. Maybe have it as an add-on. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I don't know what else they could do for Clown to make me not get motion sick. Like, there's that plus sign. They made it, like, was it last year? There was an update, like, making it, like, less blurry. But it's still, like, it still bothers me. But I understand that, like, I get motion sick so easily. There's so many things in this game that make me motion sick that I didn't know until, like, I run into these issues. And now, like, I know when to look away. Or I know, like, when to, like, essentially close my eyes or look away to not get motion sick.
Yeah.
From, like, certain actions that I don't think are intended. Like, have you ever been uncaged from a Pyramid Head cage? Your camera is all wonky during that. And, like, that view makes me motion sick. Like, so every time I'm getting uncaged, I have to, like, close my eyes and turn my head for, like, 3 seconds.
It's like the Hag, how Hag clones just instantly turn their camera to it.
Yeah, kind of. And that's actually, like, an issue for one of my friends. We sometimes if we're playing together, we have to DC against Hag, but she's like trying to work on that because she has like a heart condition and the jump scares really like bother her.
That's an interesting one with the Hag ones because like I wonder if there's a way to add some visual effect to it that could make it so the juxtaposition of your camera just jolting like behind you or something is possible to not be as much of an issue. Because that's always the problem with a lot of these things, because I think like similar to the Clown one, like if they tone down the effect a bit, I feel like it wouldn't be as much of an issue. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, and this isn't me trying to be mean to anybody, there's no way to solve all of these problems, right? At least...
Yeah, and everyone's different. Everyone has their own line. Like, that's where I'm also, like, I understand, like, I'm an outlier with how easily I get motion sick, right? Like, I understand that. I'm not, like, change everything for me right now, fix it. Like,
well, and again, going back to the phobia filters, too, like, that's part of the argument against them, is that, okay, well, where do we draw the line with it? And this is no hate to Pixie. I love Pixie. Pixie has... Oh my god, I can't think of the name. I feel so bad. There's a million of them.
The phobia of mushrooms. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So the question with like that one is like, that's not a very common phobia. And it really affects her on Toba. She has to DC on I don't know if she still DCs on when she gets Toba, but she's very tempted to at the very least.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, with that not being a very common phobia, should it be high on the priority list? Mycophobia. Thank you. Thank you, Hext. I probably mispronounced that. I love phobia names. Don't we just love phobia names?
Phobia names are really hard to pronounce.
Yeah, I mean, traptophobia, that's not even the proper way to say it, but everyone knows what I mean when I say it.
Yeah, that's tough because Toba is also where a lot of spiders are on maps, so maybe we could just look at Toba, but like... No one's asking to, like, completely get rid of these things, because I know a lot of people argue, they're like, you're ruining the creativity of the game, you're making it so devs won't try anything new, like, you're gonna make every map look the same, you're gonna do this, but, like, all of these options that people are requesting are toggleable, and they're like, it's up to you to put them on. Like, someone else having, like, an arachnophobia setting on isn't going to affect your gameplay. I don't see like where the line could be that it even affects you at all, unless you're like, I wear spider charms to scare survivors. But like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know. Apparently, I wear pride charms to make everybody mad. So, God, the Dead by Daylight community. It's more an internet issue, but also it's the phobia. I apologize. What was I saying? Traptophobia is the fear of holes. I'm sorry. It's that it's like when you see like an image of a bunch of like holes, which is another one that I've actually heard issues with in this game in particular on some of the skins. Because
speaking of that phobia, you know they actually changed a few add-ons because of that. Like,
really?
I forgot what add-on it was. It had a ton of holes in it. This is also when they changed the Dead Dog Saloon offering
from the noose
to the bottle. Guys, you remember what add-on was changed? It was one of the killer add-ons. It was changed. Oh, I can't remember. But those both happened at the same time. And I remember I saw someone like rejoicing it. They're like, thank you. Like, this bothered me. But do you remember how upset people were when the noose changed to a bottle?
Okay, that one's a weird one because this is also a problem with like internet discourse in general. Some people's issues with it, I understood. Like, let me rephrase, not issues, but some people's arguments for it, I understood. But the way a lot of them were coming across saying it was just terrible and stupid. That's the problem with a lot of it. Because, like, I saw someone making the point, like, well, the noose is still, like, there's still nooses on the map, but the difference is, like, but the way they were saying it was, like, I don't know how to explain it. They just came off as, like, I know better than you, why would you do this kind of way?
Yeah.
And it just, yeah, that didn't help their argument. But, yeah.
Okay, but, like, at the end of the day, does changing it to a bottle actually negatively affect anyone?
No, it doesn't. That's the other thing. It's like, at the end of the day, I don't really care that they changed it to a bottle, and I'm sure it helps some people. So why not? And like,
also, doesn't a bottle like better represent the map anyways because of the saloon and then the bar and like, just saying, I feel like it actually like represents the map more.
Just make it a cowboy hat. There you go. But I mean, and that comes back along to the thing with the that doesn't come back along to it, but with the idea of like toggles, because that's I think the misconstrued nature of a lot of the accessibility talks is just that it's toggles, right? For most things,
yeah.
We just want toggles, options,
just the options. Yes, and no one is forced to have anything like any of these settings on. If seeing spiders makes the game more scary for you and you don't have arachnophobia, then hey, keep seeing the spiders. Keep seeing those little guys and having fun, you know?
Well, and the thing is, like, the way a lot of other games have handled, like, the arachnophobia in particular, there's no one-size-fits-all solution, right? Some games...
Correct. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, like, Lethal Company literally just made it a box that says spider on it.
See, I was actually going to bring this up. One of my close friends, he has arachnophobia, and the arachnophobia setting for Lethal Company still bothers him because the spider has like the fangs on it. So like he has to use mods that completely get rid of them or like replaces it with something else. But, like for a lot of people that works.
And then like
you said, there's no like one way to do this for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And then like Grounded made them like I didn't Grounded make them like fruit or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember. I've actually never played Grounded, but I'm so happy that it has options like that.
Well,
and that options like that are becoming more mainstream.
Well, because the other thing with it too is because with arachnophobia in particular, if you, I studied when I was in college. I studied a lot of psychology. Actually, I have a degree in psychology. Humble brag. But arachnophobia is a weird one because from the studies we've done, it's actually not spiders technically people are afraid of for the most part with arachnophobia. It is like in essence spiders. What people actually like, what causes their brain to like, have the flight or fight response and the fear response is the legs. It's the 8 legs. This is an evolutionary thing. It's why it's so common. It's the same thing with snakes. It's because back when we were in our caveman days, Bob got bit by a spider and died. Therefore, every spider is dangerous, so we avoid them all. That's why it exists. But not the only reason. But there's traumatic experiences and so whatever. My point is, one of the main causes of it is the legs. It's not necessarily the spider itself. Now, for other people, obviously, it can be the fangs, the mere representation of a spider. And the reason I bring this up is because for Grounded, for example, the way they got around it was by making the spiders more cartoony. But there was some criticism that it didn't actually help a lot of people that still had arachnophobia, because while it does make the spider look different, it still has the 8 legs. It still looks like a spider if your brain is able to, like, get past it a bit. But again, but same thing like with my clown argument, where it's like we could just like depixelate clown a little bit if people have chlorophobia, because you can, it stops your brain from associating it with the clown. It makes it look slightly different, so the process of your brain trying to rationalize it is different. And same thing with like for Toba, for example, with like all the mushroom imagery and the insects on the map, it would be as simple as, for the insects at least, just removing them from the map. But then that leads into an argument of artistic integrity or not integrity necessarily, but what's the word I'm looking for? Artistic, just like design. Like the artist had an idea for this map to feel alien, and the bugs are supposed to help emphasize that point. But again, like this is where the issue comes in. It's just like there's no catch-all solution to any of this. Even with like Blight's needles, right? If you're playing Blight and you have a problem with needles, the argument could be made, don't play Blight then, right? This is the argument people have for the spirit accessibility issues, at least playing as her, which we'll get into the playing against her here in a minute. But because
that guy's fun. That guy got banned.
Wait, which one? The
one that's holding me hostage. He held me hostage in 2 matches.
Oh, you're talking about the Blight and the...
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm like passively watching the video on screen. Yeah, this guy got banned.
No, you're good. I do it some, like, trust me, you make a cool play, I'm probably going to mention it. Don't worry.
No, so far it's just been me being held hostage. Which is great content, honestly.
But again, though, that's the other issue with the phobia filters, because there's no one-size-fits-all solution. A lot of times, no matter what behavior ends up doing for any of these, if they do anything, is that there's no...
colorblind.
And the colorblind mode. Which, you know what, I'm going to say something, and people are going to hate me for this. The colorblind mode in Dead by Daylight at the moment is worse than not having a colorblind mode at all.
You're not the only person to say that. In fact, JRM, he mentions that he's colorblind and the settings like don't help him at all. He made a whole video about it. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the first time I think I saw a big creator talking about accessibility in Dead by Daylight.
The colorblind mode... apparently I've had the colorblind mode turned on since I started playing the game.
And you didn't even know?
I didn't even notice. I only turned it off recently just to see, because it helped my filters. That's it.
As far as I'm aware, like, I'm not colorblind, but I've tried the settings. I will say I struggle to see on like Area Crow corn maps. Like, I cannot see auras on like the yellow maps like at all. I don't know if it's a me issue, but I have to like have certain reshade settings just for those like yellowish, like yellow tinted maps, because I have such a hard time seeing on them. You know,
it's funny because the argument I hear for Eerie of Crows in particular is that it's too bright. And I've said multiple times, my old man eyes. I love Eerie because it's one of the few maps I can see on.
It hurts my eyes so bad. See, it's funny how different it is for everyone.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. A simple setting for brightness would fix both of our issues. Mm-hmm. The corn one, I want to do testing on this for the cornfield maps, because I swear it's the corn itself. There is something about the corn existing that messes with my eyes. I swear. I get lost.
I actually call it corn blindness.
Yeah, so do I. But it's like it has to be something. It's something psychological. It has to be, because I will lose scratch marks on that map constantly, even when I'm right behind somebody. It's insane.
I don't. It's something about like the red with the yellow. I also feel like there's also just like not as many structures on those maps generally, so you won't see like survive or hook auras as well, because usually they have to be like behind a wall or something, you know. I'll be on comms with my friends, and I was watching one of my clips, and I'm like, "Where did you get hooked?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm in a tile," and I'm circling the whole map. Like I did like 3 whole like circles. I'm like, I cannot see where she is at all, and then she's right behind me, like in a tile right behind me. I'm like, oh my god. I had to like position my camera in like a very specific angle to see the aura. Like, I don't know, if I was brand new, I don't think I would ever find her.
Well, and that brings into the colorblind settings and the gamma settings also bring into the argument, because I was seeing this. So Call of Duty, I believe it was the remake of Modern Warfare. It has a contrast mode, a high contrast setting that basically like it super highlights the enemies. It makes like friendlies like green, like fully green auras at all times, and red for enemies. This setting is only available in the campaign. It's not available in the multiplayer. And the argument the devs gave for it, and again, this is where the nuance and the complication with some of these features does come in. Colorblind is a little bit different than contrast, but the argument was made that they wanted to keep the integrity of being able to stay hidden during a match if you'd like. And the contrast modes would kind of remove that option from players, and make it... They didn't use the word too easy, but the way they worded it made it definitely sound like they did. It would just make it too easy to kind of find hiding players. And again, that's...
Okay.
Go ahead.
Like players who like the stealth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like, people use the argument, and I see like neon green fairy Claudette running around. Like, I don't know, but like...
Well, so there is a solution to a lot of these problems, though, with stuff like that. And I'm going to finish what I'm saying before someone has a problem with me saying this. It's technically having a separate queue. The key word in that was technically. So the one solution to this is if you have accessibility features turned on, then it just puts you in a separate queue type. And what I mean by that is have it on by default so everyone is matched together, right? But if you don't want to play with people with accessibility features on because for whatever reason you think being able to see better is an accessibility or is an unfair advantage, it would just put you in a separate queue, technically speaking.
I just don't think that's actually doable with Dead by Daylight. I'm just gonna flat out like I don't think that's possible. And then people can change the color of their like monitor, and then like the game can't detect that, or like you can use can games like detect NVIDIA filters like.
Well, no, but I mean, like if you have like if you have an accessibility feature turned on in game, I mean, if you have one outside of the game, I mean, there's no way to detect that.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like Behavior would have trouble doing that, and they probably wouldn't want to do that. One of the things they highly prioritize is fast queues. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why people are like, oh, MMR doesn't feel like it's working, but my queues are like 10 seconds, not even, you know?
Well, because...
And...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And, like, Hex just said in chat, like, it could divide the player pool, and they'll be like... People will be like, oh, I'm top MMR with no accessibility settings. Like, I don't know. To me, I could see people feeling like having a separate queue would mean that, like, people who don't use it feel better than the others. But at the end of the day, I don't think it would really matter. But I also don't think that would really fix anything.
Well, the only thing that essentially would fix is the argument of like I'm playing with or you're playing with a quote advantage, which is a separate can of worms we'll get into here in a minute, I'm sure. But that's basically what that prevents. And that's not me saying we should necessarily do it, but like it is a way to alleviate some of those issues. Halo does it with aim assist. If you have aim assist turned off, you're in a separate queue.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot. Actually, a lot of modern games have this. If you turn off aim assist on console.
Dead by Daylight, add that so we can all turn off aim assist. Thank you.
There you go. But and then with the colorblind, the gamma features, because again, it's like, it comes back to that whole, is there a line to it, right? Because like, I don't think that like a gamma feature should be able to, or a gamma feature or a contrast feature should make it so you can literally just glance and see all 4 survivors directly in front of you, even if they're on the other side of the map, I feel like there is a line to that. And then,
yeah, and I don't think it's like actually possible to do that unless you're like actually cheating and deleting like all things like rendering and like, I don't think that's a realistic issue that we have to worry about with Dead by Daylight. And I know some people would be like, oh, well, your game's black and white, but the red stain's super red and we can't see anything. But like, have you seen people play with those filters? Unless you're colorblind, like that is straining the crap out of your eyes. Like there is no way you can play without that being an issue unless you are like actually colorblind and like trying to make the game like actually accessible for you to see.
Well, because I mean, I feel like this is another issue with a lot of this. I don't think some people have played with accessibility features on in a lot of other games and realized how like different it actually is. Especially for colorblind settings in particular. I think monochrome, which is basically what that is. It is very eye straining. It's, at least I can't do it for more than like an hour.
I can't do it either. I can't even watch like a 15-second clip of it. I'm like, that hurts my eyes. Like,
I brought up The Last of Us 2 in our DMs about this because again, it's probably one of the most accessible games ever made. But it has a roguelike mode in it called No Return, and it has a bunch of modifiers in it that can randomly show up. And one of the modifiers puts on one of the filters like that. It can possibly put a monochrome filter on, and whenever that filter comes on in one of the arenas, it physically hurts to see.
It's kind of like it happens in like Valorant too. Like some like abilities will make your game like audio like very muffled and muted, and then your game goes very like dark, but like monochrome. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too much for me.
Well, because also someone brought up it's not auto aim, it's aim dressing. It's also not called the anti-camp meter, it's called the resolve meter, but no one calls it that, do they? I didn't think so. I probably just blew someone's mind.
No one calls grades rank, or everyone calls grades ranks. I mean, like rank reset. Actually, it's grade reset.
I just probably blew someone's mind because it's actually called a resolve meter. I only know that because it tells you in the tutorial.
Wow, the tutorial covers that?
Yes. They added
I actually played the tutorial like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this explains why people unhook in the killer's face, because the tutorial literally shows you to do that. It's like they get hooked, like, go grab them. I'm like, okay.
Fun fact about the Dead by Daylight tutorial, because they updated it after they added the anti-camp thing. Before that, there actually wasn't, because it changed a little bit, because I played it a couple months before that. They added that, and there also the section where it tells you about stunning the killer with a pallet. That wasn't there before that.
That's crazy.
So, if you've ever wondered why a bunch of new players just pre-drop pallets and don't ever try to stun the killer, that's why. That's why.
Well, my first game of Dead by Daylight ever, I got hooked and it said take your chances, and I did, and I flew off the hook. So then for like the next week, every game I had, I took my chances because I thought I was going to get off the hook. And I was like, why am I dying so fast? Like nothing was explained to me. My friends were like, Chey, stop. I'm like, oh.
I remember my first Dead by Daylight, my first matches of Dead by Daylight. I didn't know lunging was an option. I thought you had to lunge. I didn't know you could just tap the button.
You know how you bring offerings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was playing with my friends, and I was like, what do these do? They're like, oh, you burn them like in the trial. I was like, oh, okay. So I put on offerings. I was running to the fire barrels and just sitting there, and I'm like, how do I use it? Like, Chey, it burned when you loaded in. I'm like, oh. Another thing, I thought botany knowledge had to be used near fire barrels because it mentions fire barrels in the description, so I'd always make my teammates run to a fire barrel to heal for the bonus.
There's a video of someone playing Doom 2016, and they tried to, I don't know if you've ever played the game, but there's these things called gore nests. So there's these things called gore nests which activate like the arenas, and she took a barrel and tried to like put it near, like she rolled it. She spent like 20 minutes doing this, rolling it towards the gore nest to shoot it, to blow it up, because she thought that's what she had to do. But it was the only reason I laughed so hard is because, like, wow, you overthinked the crap out of this in like the best way possible. Oh, that's great. Take the offerings to a barrel. They should add that. They should make that a new perk. Make the fire barrels do something.
I thought they were there for botany knowledge.
No, they're there to make it so I mess up tracking with audio. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, why do fire barrels sound like footsteps? Like, what?
No, that's legitimately why they're there.
I know, but like, that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, it's like me with the vultures on Dead. Oh my god, the vultures on Dead Dog.
The ink flying up on Eerie sounds like footsteps. I'm like, stop. It sounds like someone's like pitter-pattering through the sand near me.
Speaking of pitter-patter, I've made the suggestion to make Chucky's footsteps red for similar reasons to what we were talking about.
Speaking of making things different colors, I think a huge thing that could be great for colorblindness and just in general that many games have is the option to change the color of scratch marks, auras, any types of auras. Like, you notice how, like, oh, Jen's turn yellow was blastmine. What if we could change that to a different color? What if scratch marks could be purple, yellow, white, whatever is easier for someone to see? Like, you can do that in almost any game that I play. Like, any shooter, you can change the color of, like, your teammates, your enemies. Like, I don't see why that isn't an option for us. And I feel like that would solve a lot of problems.
And the thing with that, too, is the argument for competitive integrity or whatever whatever the argument is doesn't even make sense because Valorant has that option.
Yeah,
that's like
Valorant, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. You can like change colors of things, but there's a best color. No one cares in those games. Oh yes, is it really the best color if you are colorblind and can't see it?
Yeah, there's that too. But I mean,
I don't know. This doesn't impact anyone else. Like, if my scratch marks are purple, how would that affect anyone else? It doesn't.
Yeah, and then like, because even with, and this is why I always give behavior crap because they only use like 3 colors. But the one advantage to that is that if they do ever eventually, which they should, add colorblind features or ways to change them, it does make it easier. Because if the only colors to change are red, yellow, and
white.
Is it white? Is that the only other one?
Like Scourge. Well, for events, sometimes they're orange, which that's great for people who are colorblind.
That's great for people who aren't colorblind. I get confused.
No, who are? Note the sarcasm. Smile. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying I get confused by that shit.
It confuses me, and then I have friends who are like, I genuinely cannot see the difference between the yellow and the orange gens. I'm like, me neither. Like,
and and moving a bit into like the advantage one, because this one gets brought up a lot with audio settings too. We talked about sliders, but I'm gonna bring up the game because I have to. Fortnite has the audio visual.
Yeah, and Dead by Daylight should too.
I do think there is a limit to this. And I think the problem, and this is why I do think there is a little bit of nuance with Dead by Daylight over Fortnite, because audio is, and I'm not saying we shouldn't add it at all. I'm not saying that, but it would have to be, we'd have to be careful with it, mostly because of how the audio works in this game as is. Because of how buggy it can be. Because another game that I've heard the suggestion for is like Rainbow Six Siege. But the problem with adding it to something like R6 is the game is so audio based. I don't know how you do it. Why did my YouTube mess up?
Oh, because that got copyright strike, that video that you're trying to watch.
Wait.
Or not a strike, but I got a copyright warning because it was my first time streaming on YouTube in forever.
What did they strike you for?
My audio wasn't split right, so there was music on it for like 5 seconds, and then I figured it out.
Where was I going with it? Oh, Rainbow Six. Yeah, Rainbow Six is an example of this too, where it's like they haven't added audio filter, like the audio indicators, and I think it's a bit. Again, this is where the issues with it arise, because if the game is kind of focused around audio for tracking, or like that's like a major component of the game, it becomes harder. Justifies the wrong word, but it becomes harder to do in a way that kind of fits the game, I guess.
I just want to say first, DBD Mobile had this. Like DBD Mobile had these settings. So I think it's something that we could see in Dead by Daylight. I know that's NetEase, but like we got the visual heartbeat from it. And I will say there are a decent amount of the player base that are hard of hearing, and what these settings are meant to do are just supposed to help them with being able to to visually see things that other people can like audibly hear that they just physically can't, right? I'm someone who struggles with directional audio, which is why I have the visual like tear radius on, the visual heartbeat. And something like you said, the audio in this game can be buggy. Like if there's a noise in the game that's like louder than a certain amount, then like you won't hear anything below it. Like definitely not intended. At least I don't think it is, like, because I've seen people mention it as if it's a bug.
And then
your audio, and then your audio is also tied to your FOV when you're playing Killer, which is
what?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Like, if you play on a higher FOV, it like changes your audio a bit. And there's I don't know if it's still a bug, but if you had your FOV over 90 something, then it like causes more issues with your audio.
Well, I just learned something today.
Like, I don't know if tied to your FOV is the correct way to phrase it. It's like tied to your camera, which is tied to your FOV. So I might have skipped a step by explaining it like that.
Well,
so if you
why? I mean, I think I know the reason why, but why?
So there's many things that aren't like intuitive about the sound in this game, and like sometimes, listen, I don't think I'm hard of hearing. Like I said, I struggle with directional audio sometimes, but like sometimes I literally can't hear a gen being worked on like Batum downstairs. Like I'm on top of it, like, and I cannot hear if anyone's on the gen or not. I have to like go physically go down there and like look at it. Like I don't know. Some of the audio occlusion, is that the right word?
It's audio occlusion, yeah.
Like some of it it doesn't feel consistent. And I'll watch some killers, like I'll watch streamers. There's a few that I watch that are hard of hearing, and they miss so much. Like they have to rely solely on visuals, and it puts them at so much of a disadvantage that if like if they can have a cue like, oh, I can hear this gen's being touched if I'm within a certain radius, which you're supposed to be able to hear anyways, like that would help them so much. Same with like if they're playing Survivor, there's so many killers that like rely on audio cues that like they just can't hear.
Right. I think Spirit is probably the biggest offender of this.
Yeah, and then like even for like me, I play against Plague Muted. I can't tell if she gets her power unless I see her, and by the time I see her, she's shooting her power at me. Like I can't tell. Like Myers has like, oh, everyone's exposed. Like there's a little icon. Like why can't we have something like that for Plague? Why can't we have like a little noise that appears? Like, oh, there's a boon totem. Like because sometimes I will never hear a boon go up, and I'm stuffing like 4 totems a match. I'm like, I didn't hear one of these get lit.
That happens to me all the time.
I'm like, when did this go up? But it made no noise.
You could just, for something like that, they could very easily just add like a little notification, like a status effect on the right, like a boon is in play.
M said something in chat. Hard of hearing deaf players encountering the almighty skill check. In a lot of games, if there's going to be a skill check, like there's an option where your controller vibrates, like warning you. I feel like that would be something great to have in Dead by Daylight.
How would that affect Would Huntress Lullaby turn that off?
Yeah, it would probably like negatively affect it or just prevent it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What if it vibrates when you hear it anyways? So it like throws you off. Like
that would be interesting. It just randomly vibrates your controller, just every like couple of seconds.
Yeah, because like you said, there's certain things intended to like throw you off in this game, right?
Yeah, and
that's how I was trying to phrase it. M phrased it better than I did.
By the same amount as that makes sense. And you know, like I said, my much like with the phobia thing, I think the question for a lot of people does come down to how much is too much. I think is a big, because it's like, should it give a visual for footsteps at all, like footsteps at all times? Because doesn't that kind of get rid of the kind of mind games you can do with it? From the killer's perspective.
All you would see is like... Wait. From the killer's perspective?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like if they're moonwalking?
Yeah.
To hide their red stain and things like that?
Well, no. So, like, let's say you're playing killer, you're chasing someone, and you hear footsteps go right, and then they start walking left. Would the...
It wouldn't show... So, in games, I don't think I've ever seen it show, like, which direction they're actually, like... physically like turning their body.
It's usually a reticle. Like, it doesn't like give specifics, like nothing like...
like it could just be like a little icon like footsteps. If they do end up showing footsteps, I feel like the most important things to show would be like generators, like totems. I don't know, anyone in chat can...
My headphones broke.
Feel free to share.
Well, no, my headphones broke a couple weeks ago, and I had to play for 4 hours with no audio at all. Playing Chucky. For anyone who knows how to play Chucky, audio is very important for that character. And there was a lot of matches where I didn't even notice gens were going off at the time. Because I didn't happen to be looking in the direction, or was not, blankly staring at my HUD on the left at all times. And that's not even counting like when layering happens. Like if 2 gens pop, if they pop at the same time, sometimes you won't notice both of them. Like literally at the same time. And while again, like this isn't me saying like we shouldn't add it or try. I'm just saying and this is why I think, again, I don't think it's an excuse, but I think it's the issue a lot of games do run into with the whole visual audio settings, is that if you don't do it right, it can feel like it's... How do I want to phrase this? It can feel like it's kind of just... It's giving you information that even someone who could hear doesn't have. Right? If you do it incorrectly. I'm not...
Yeah. The thing is, I'm someone who thinks that, like, accessibility options can't be, like, quote-unquote abused. Or, like...
So, there was an experiment... I don't like using the word experimental indie game, but there was an indie shooter. I forget the name of it. It came out about a year ago. They had a... They had a very interesting way of handling this. I don't think this is the way Dead by Daylight should do it, or any other game should do it. But the way they handled it was, if you have the visual audio turned on, your game gets muted.
Huh.
That way, if you do use the visual indicators as someone who can hear, you are basically experiencing the game as if you couldn't.
So it must show literally everything then, right? Otherwise, you are still at a disadvantage.
Yeah, it pretty much does. Yeah.
I see. The thing is, though, like a lot of hard of hearing people like aren't completely deaf, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the thing. That was the criticism it got, was that it doesn't. It was a solution that didn't account for the fact that there are some people who are deaf in one ear, some people who just don't have good hearing, like are hard of hearing in general, but not necessarily deaf. So like it didn't take into account there, but again, like this, it was just an interesting solution to the problem that I think. Because again, with a lot of this, it's stress testing, right? So it's like you looking at all of these other examples, we can kind of pull from it to see if there's ways to add it to the game in a way that wouldn't be as bad. Because there is criticism for like the Fortnite one, for example, where even as someone who can hear perfectly fine, I have no reason to turn it off. I just leave it on.
Yeah, I also know people who like physically can't play with it because like distracts them because they say it's like too much. Same with like the visual like to radius and Dead by Daylight. I have some friends who like can't watch creators who use it.
Well, yeah, and again, that's really where a lot of the success. And we mentioned it even with the phobia filters and things like that. It's like just an option. That's all we're asking for is options.
Yeah, if it's an option, and if it's an option, that means that it's available to everyone. So if you genuinely feel like it's an advantage to have like any of these settings and you want to use it, then like accessibility options are there for everyone. Anyone can use it. Like, don't ever feel like, let's say you play Fortnite and you're like, well, I have trouble hearing certain things, but I'm not actually deaf. That means I can't use this. No, you can use it. Like, it's there for everyone.
It's just like with colorblind settings in a lot of games. I know people who aren't colorblind who use them just fine, or not fine, but who use them just because it makes the game look better or easier or like.
Yeah, I changed like my enemy colors to like yellow instead of red, or like.
The problem, the argument often for Dead by Daylight, and one I don't fully agree with, and I think most people don't, is the idea of the artistic integrity of the game. I brought this up a couple times, or the vibe of the game being kind of diluted by it, but I just don't fully agree with that at all. Because the game is in a position now, it's a PvP game. The idea of it being like this horror, like, how do I word this? This idea of it being like this horror jump scare game that can't like have funny stuff or things that kind of look quote unquote out of place is just, it just doesn't work. Because
there are plenty of things that are out of place for a horror game, but like using the argument, I feel like I don't know.
I mean, did we not see the most recent Fong skin? I mean,
that skin's bugged. I'm rocking it. I don't care. Her head's empty. She has no skull. There's holes in it. When you work on a gen, you can see like the gen lighting up inside of her head.
I'm just glad that Fong got another skin that's going to make me confuse her for Nia again.
Yeah, someone was like, "Oh my god, that's a cute Nia skin." They're like, "Oh wait, never mind."
It keeps happening.
But like we're talking about like audio, right? And you mentioned sliders a few times. We didn't really go into like too much of the sliders. And like what I personally would like to see. Sorry.
Well, no.
Give me one moment to mute my phone.
No, you're good. I mean, like sliders for like killer specific audio. That's a very simple one they could add in.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people who have misophonia, right? Like certain noises will like make them feel sick, angry, like stressed out. And I know like artists is a big trigger for that. Wesker's Terry is sometimes, like I know some people who have trouble with that. There's just like certain killer noises, or like if we muted plague like vomiting noises and mute that from like the survivor's end, like for ourselves, like I feel like that could go a long way for accessibility. Yeah, and like ways to turn off the blood web, but like I don't know, do you think having an option to turn off fire barrel sounds is fair? Or Terror Radius or like chase music? Do you think that would be where you draw the line?
I think Terror Radius and chase music are fine. I don't think they're if anything, I think there's still a lot of them are too loud, and because of how different some are, it just doesn't, because the argument's been made before. I think even the devs have made this argument. I could be wrong, or misremembering, that the Terror Radius being as loud as it is a quote balancing setting. And I just don't agree with it because of how variable some of them are. Because some some chase music and Terror Radius music is kind of some of it's quieter than others. Like some of it's louder than others. Some of it
I'm going to say something controversial.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Legion's chase music. It is way too loud. It's so much louder than other killers for me. I hate it. I'm like, oh, everyone's like, I hate Legion mending similar. I hate Legion's chase music for being so gosh darn loud in my little ears.
You just got to headbang. You just got to headbang to it. Okay, you're not getting. It's Legion. All right, you can hold W. You're fine. No, and see that's my point with it. It's just like similar to, because Chucky and Spirit I think are good examples of this too. Their audio is very integral to their counterplay, because Chucky has the 12 in your lap when he's undetectable. That's to help people notice he's coming because he's so short. And Spirit, her entire kit is designed around audio, which is, I brought up Rainbow Six Siege earlier. And yeah. I've had some people bring this argument up where it's like, well, Rainbow Six Siege doesn't have this issue, like people complaining about it. The difference with Siege and Dead by Daylight is that audio in Dead by Daylight is, I'm going to say this and I hope people know what I mean. It's a tertiary function of the game, right?
Okay, as someone who's using context clues, you mean crucial, right?
Well, what I mean is that in Rainbow Six Siege, audio is literally like 90% of the game.
Oh.
Like you cannot play that game there is no way for them to design that game in a way where someone who's hard of hearing can play it in a way that would, even if they added visuals to the audio. The audio is so important to that game to know exactly where everyone is and what's going on, that it's just that integral. The thing with Dead by Daylight is that with certain killers like Spirit and Chucky, they are the exception, in my opinion. Like, the audio for those two is so integral to their kit as compared to other killers that they're the outliers in the situation, where I think they need to be adjusted in ways where Spirit, more so in particular, where it needs to not be such a cornerstone of their design, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like I've mentioned a few times, I struggle with directional audio. I cannot play as Spirit, and I'm horrible against her as well. And I just feel like a detriment to my team. Mm-hmm. And I feel kind of bad, but like, what am I meant to do? I don't really have anything to help me, right?
And the argument for Spirit in particular is that if they added directional audio, it would make her less strong. It would affect her actual power level. And I do agree to an extent. However, I mean, there's been a million solutions to this problem that aren't just directional audio for Spirit in particular.
Yeah, and you'll see, like, there's so many Spirit mains are like, yeah, she's an accessibility issue. I don't care if you even make it directional. Like, let people see where I'm coming from. I don't care. Like,
well, and the thing is, because the argument I think also gets diluted a bit because what about playing as her? I think that's another one that like gets brought up a lot, because the argument could be made that you're choosing to play as her, so it's not as big of a deal that she's an accessibility issue. On the end of the killer side. Now, on the survivor side, it's different. I think most people can agree it's an issue, right? Most sane people can agree it's an issue. But playing as her is a different can of worms, like, because you're choosing to take on that selection. And I might sound like an arrogant asshole saying that, but at that point, that one is a, how do I say this in a nice way? That one might be kind of it's just not a killer for you kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of agree. That's why I don't play as Spirit, because I struggle with directional audio. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a bad experience if I play as her. I get super frustrated, and like, very confused.
Well, it's just because there are exceptions to this. Because like I think Nurse is a good example for like motion sickness. I know a lot of people who can't play Nurse because of the motion sickness she can cause. That one's a little different because I think there are ways to alleviate that one without like getting rid of the experience of playing as Nurse. But with Spirit, there's people who enjoy the fact that she is purely an audio-based killer when you're playing as her, right? The audio tracking is that draws people to Spirit. And again, that's why it's a nuanced topic, because I don't think there's a way to get rid of it without kind of diluting that pool a bit, because, and again, playing against her is different as well, because I've heard hundreds of solutions to the playing against her thing. I've heard add Chucky's footsteps to her, just make them like delayed. That's a way you could do it. May have it be visual in some way without actually having a visual like telling you, oh, she's on your left, right? And like these non-simple solutions, these like more like nuanced ways of like trying to fix these problems, I think are what needs to be done in the game a little bit more for some issues. I mentioned it with Chucky earlier, where his footsteps I think shouldn't be white; they should be red. And the reason I've said this before is because if they ever do add a colorblind mode or feature, not mode, that it would help alleviate some of the issues, because you could be like, oh, we'll turn the red auras to this color. Now that affects Chucky's footsteps as well as the other red auras in the game.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there are white auras too, like Scourge hooks and stuff. What, like regressing gens with Rookie Spirit, are those yellow or white? I can't remember.
They're white. Yeah, the only different one I think is Surveillance, because it goes from red to white to yellow. I probably have that wrong.
Yeah.
I don't run Surveillance.
I don't know, something like that. Yeah, I don't run these perks, but I yeah.
Yeah, and then like, and again, another one that gets brought up a lot, and this isn't a colorblind feature, but it's the flashbangs and flashlights. I remember when 2 Can Play got added to the game. There was a lot of complaints. I hate using the word complaints because it makes it sound like they're not valid criticisms, but there was criticisms about it where now survivors have to experience the blindness thing, which they didn't have to before, even though 2 Can Play isn't as common, but
yeah, I will say they can experience it from a killer kicking a gen, someone else flashbanging you, like things like that, and then okay, sorry, this is gonna like turn into a whole thing.
Go ahead. Welcome to the podcast. Go ahead.
So, there are a lot of people who play this game that are photosensitive, and when they play killer, they have to have Lightborn on. They have to. I have 4 friends that can only play with Lightborn on base kit, cannot take it off because they are photosensitive, and if they repeatedly get blinded, they will like feel sick. Some of them can be prone to seizures, like things like this, right? They get physically ill from this, so they have to keep Lightborn on. There is nothing on the survivor side that can prevent you from experiencing this from 2 Can Play, unless you just don't stun or blind the killer. But sometimes you don't know until it happens, right? Like I said, someone else trying to flashbang save you, I get blinded like 6 times this stream, like by random solo queue teammates trying to save me. Or like a killer kicking a blast mine gen. Like, what if you're like, oh, is it like wiretap? Is it like trail? Like, you don't know what it is. Everything's all the same color, and then it just gets kicked, and then you're blinded. So the fact that there's nothing that the survivors can do on their end to prevent this, whereas on the killer end, you can use a perk slot, which not great. There is a reason why Spine Chill like got changed, and now we have the visual radius. But like relying on a perk slot isn't great. And on top of that, there's a bug, in case anyone's photosensitive. If you kick a gen that's blast mined while you have Lightborn, it is piercing white. It is so bright. I submitted a bug report. I was recording kicking blast mine gens for like 15 minutes, and I felt so sick. Like, it is blinding. I can send you a picture of it. It is genuinely so bad.
Fun fact about Lightborn, by the way. Did you know that it actually doesn't make you immune to blinds?
They have to hold it for like a long time, right?
Yeah, I learned this because I was playing against a clown and I was running Champion of Light, and my friend mentioned it while we were playing, and I just held the light on him while I was backing up, and he did get blinded eventually.
No, I think it just shows a woof on you, but it doesn't actually blind them.
Really? It was like 20
that's my
seconds.
understanding. We can test this sometime in a custom if you want, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually apply the blind to them. But a way to like fix this would to make it so that you can customize what color your blind is. Like,
yeah.
Did you know some content creators, when they get blinded in their killer matches or survivor matches, they will go through and like darken each time they're blind as accessibility?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can't do that in game. So they take time to go edit it in their videos because there's no accessibility options for this. And like I said, you wouldn't have to rely on a perk if you're playing killer.
Well, because, I mean, you brought up Spine Chill, and that was the argument for that. It's like, we shouldn't have to bring a perk for an accessibility feature.
Nope. Like, you should not have to.
Because even when Spine Chill got changed, because I think they changed it before they added the visual terror radius, didn't they?
They did. It was changed for like a few months before it, I think.
Yeah, and the perk that was ran after that was Detective's Hunch, because it at least gave. It was like the closest we had to being able to know if you were in the terror radius without being able to hear it.
Yeah,
but it's like, it seems like such a simple thing. Just make it so you can change the screen, like just a toggle that just makes it so if you're for photosensitivity. For flashlights, it just makes your screen black instead of bright ass white or yellow. It just
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but that just seems, speak of the devil. It just seems like such a simple solution. I don't know, because this isn't even unheard of in like other competitive games. There's games with flashbangs that do this. Not all of them, but some. I think Valorant has a setting for the flashes. You can change the color. A lot of people don't do it, but you can do it if you want.
Yeah. Like I said, like having things being optional is just like the best bet. Like the more you can customize, the more like accessible things will be, because like you said, it's different for everyone. Like one thing that, like something that fixes an issue for someone might not fix it for someone else. So if you have the control to change it and like customize it so whatever color works best for you, then I think that would be great.
Yeah, and like again, and I think because the other argument I hear is the devs can't do all of this, and this kind of goes back to the slippery slope argument. And the thing is, with the health patch they're doing now, I think they're doing a decent job at like rolling things out little by little by little, and I think that's what most of us are just asking for, is just that. I don't expect them to have one patch where there's suddenly a colorblind feature, directional audio, and a phobia filter for every killer in the cast in one patch, right? I don't think anyone's expecting that. But you know, every couple of months, like we get the gamma filter, and then like the next like month and a half, we get the colorblind mode. And I keep saying mode.
Maybe we just get acknowledgement of these accessibility issues. I think there's usually complete radio silence with accessibility, which is where a lot of the frustration comes in.
Trickster.
Hi, that was me talking about that all the time. I was super vocal about that, and apparently that affected other killers too, but I've only ever seen it from Trickster, and then you were able to, like, I think Kaiser and their community were able to replicate it, and some other people were too.
Rev's community was able to replicate it as well. I got sent a couple clips of it. The thing with the Trickster one is, because of what happened to be going on at the time, because I'm usually on behavior side. It's not me trying to be a shill, but you know, I give them the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. However, because the anniversary was going on at the time, I am convinced the reason they didn't say anything or do anything was because they didn't want to look bad by acknowledging it.
Yeah, well, I will say, like, at first everyone was sharing the same clip, so everyone thought that, like, oh, their graphics card is dying or something. But the fact that, like, once I posted it, I had, like, 4 or 5 people reach out to me, like, saying that it happened to them too, and some of them also said they sent in clips to behavior. I don't know. I'm not them. I don't know if they actually did send in clips, but I was told that at least like 2 or 3 of them did. Others weren't able to record it, but were like mindful of it. And then, like I said, a few people were able to replicate it. And after that, like, I don't know, it's difficult because kill switch exists for a reason, but then if they kill switch and they couldn't figure out how to replicate it, but there's gotta be some sort of environment where they can test things, right? Mm. Like, I don't know why it was left up to the player base to try to test it and find how to replicate it. I feel like that's not really our job, but it was super nice to see a lot of the community come together and try to figure that out because of how big of an issue this was.
Yeah, and there was a lot of Trickster players at the time who refused to play Trickster because of it. Even if they...
Yeah, and then there were also people who were like, I'm only going to play Trickster now, and I hope I give you guys seizures. Like...
Yeah, you know, those people don't count. They're... they're you know, I don't use this word a lot. They're just scummy people. Let's just say... But I think the problem behavior was having at the time for that, and this doesn't justify it or excuse it, but my best guess on the reasoning they didn't want to acknowledge it, especially for that, was because it was the anniversary.
He also had a skin coming out like a week later.
Yeah, that too. But because it was the anniversary, I don't think they wanted to kill switch anything.
I don't even, like... Can they even kill switch anymore? There's been so many horrible bugs that just never get kill switched. I'm like, do they even use this feature? Like,
it feels like the kill switch is literally just there as like a absolute last resort. But even then, the Trickster situation kind of throws. What have they kill switched recently? What was the last thing they kill switched?
They didn't even kill switch potential energy.
Yeah, they kill switched the locker thing, I guess, because it held the game hostage.
Oh, the flashlights? They kill switch flashlights. Mm-hmm. That was a year and a half ago?
It's like the last time I remember them doing something.
Was that like... It was like a year and a half ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Give or take, it was before Dracula came out.
Yeah, that's the last thing I can think of. Didn't they kill switch... a perk because of how it interacted with Onryo and Night?
Oh, Merciless Storm. Merciless Storm was kill switch.
No, there was another one.
I forgot about the Merciless Storm kill switch.
Did they even kill switch Merciless Storm? Because that shit was bugged for like 3 months, and it was bugged in like 3 different ways. And then it's like, it's fixed. Just kidding, my gen's still going to 0 8 different times, and everyone's running it magically, just like everyone magically ran Balanced Landing until it magically got fixed.
I still see it in my games. Someone like there's some people who don't even know it's been quote fixed yet. Same with like the even when flashbangs were bugged for a little bit there. Not the okay, flashbangs have been bugged since they've been released. I'm just gonna say that. But
do you mean when they were silent for like 8 months?
Yes, like
they were silent for so long that I forgot that they ever made noise.
Again, it's like, and you're right with the transparency thing. And I mean, there's the age-old quote from, I forget who the developer was, but wasn't there a dev who basically was like, I'm going to paraphrase this, but was like, fuck colorblind features?
Let me paraphrase your paraphrase. It was essentially, I'm tired of being asked about it every day. It's really annoying. Stop asking me about it. They'll come.
Is that what was said pretty much? I thought it was.
That's my understanding. I don't know. I don't have the clip. M might have the clip.
If someone in chat could find that clip of the dev for Dead by Daylight saying, talking about colorblind features, that would. I think it was just.
I think it was like, hey, it's annoying to be asked the same thing every day when we told you it's coming, or something like that. But was it even said that it was coming? I don't even know. No,
that's why I think...
I'm just going to go get it. Yeah, go get it. That'd
from what I understand, and I know we're talking about it beforehand, but from what I understand, he basically said that, like, we're not adding it, stop asking.
Oh, that's worse. That's way worse. Okay. I thought it was along the lines of, it's, like, stop asking me the same thing every day, we're going to add it.
All right,
but, like,
Jason,
I started playing when Nemesis came out. I missed all this stuff.
Okay, hang on.
I'm going to turn your stream on so I can hear it.
About colorblind mode all the time. We've heard it. All right, JC, it's getting really boring just blabbing about colorblind mode all the time. We've heard it a million times. We know. Continuing to badger us about it isn't going to change anything. If it gets done, it'll get done when we have time to do it, or if somebody decides that it's something that should be done. We know that a lot of players want it. We know it's not a small number. We get it.
Okay, that was not as bad as I've been told.
No, but that's not great.
No, I'm not saying it's good. Also,
sorry, asking for basic accessibility is annoying, and sorry that we have to pester you because that feels like how we get answers from anything. Like, I feel like the only way we get an answer is if we're loud enough about things, and that's not how it should be.
No, but...
And that's like making people feel like a burden for having colorblindness and wanting to be able to play their favorite game, Like, shouldn't you want to feel welcoming? Shouldn't you want to be like, yeah, we're looking into adding it? Like, that would be such a simple answer, right? Like, I understand, like, sorry we don't have it yet, but it's something that we might add in the future.
Even if the answer is like it's not at the top of the and I know this would be kind of as bad, and the nicer way he could have put that was it's not at the top of the priority list, but it is on the list.
But then, like, what if it never came out? Or people would be like, like Twitch shirts, right? Like,
cross
we're not doing these guidelines. And then a year later, well, cross progression, I can forgive them because that's dealing with other like companies that are like, no, we don't want this to go over. And then
yeah, but
like, not take DLCs from Switch and stuff.
I mean, the cross progression one is a different can of worms, but I think the problem with that one was mostly because they basically confirmed it. that was the problem with it. It would be like saying we're adding colorblind features next month, and then they just don't do it for like a year, which is similar to what happened for the Twitch shirts, kind of. Not exactly,
it's just like,
but
I don't know. And then like, as someone who's like worked for companies, like I've worked for support in multiple companies, and it's just like the most we can say is we're looking into it, or like we'll add it soon. We cannot give a date. If you give a date and you do not hit the deadline, that is the worst thing ever. Like,
yeah, it's well, because the thing is, and this is why I give a lot of companies slack when they don't give dates or like specifics. A lot of times, because you don't want to give false promises. That's almost worse than just not doing it.
I feel like that's why things don't get addressed a lot, because...
So I can't say too much because of it might get people in trouble. But from the insider info I have, I don't know if you've noticed, Dead by Daylight has kind of been a lot better with... not perfect, but a lot better with community communication, and the patches have seemed to be actually trying to address the problems the game has, both from a balance perspective and from a player experience perspective, since January-ish. There's a reason for that. And let me just say, this year for Dead by Daylight is probably going to be one of the better years for stuff like that in general. I mean, the health patches alone that they've been introducing, I feel, are kind of showing that.
That's great. This game's almost 10 years old. We need more things like this.
I mean, that's the counter argument, right? It's like, well, they should have been doing this before. And while I am all for holding people accountable for holding things accountable for, past transgressions and stuff, I feel like we should give a little bit of credit for the fact that they are at the moment trying to be better about it. It seems
100%. And like,
that doesn't mean we should stop.
I hope I'm never coming off in a way like, behavior sucks, I hate them, why do I play this game? They don't care about us. Obviously they care about us. Obviously there's a lot that they wish that they could do, and it's just not as easy as like, oh, let's flip a switch and now everyone can like have all these accessibility settings. Like, that's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, as if things got just like addressed, or like, hey, we see this, like for the doctor bug, which I didn't know if it was a bug or not. Like, I couldn't tell if it was a bug, if it was intended, because that's another thing. Things get like shadow changed and there's no notes, there's like no mention of it, and like, how am I supposed to know if that's intended or if that's a bug, right? Like when Jolt randomly started making people scream on gens and there was no note of it, like, is this intended, is this a bug?
Mm-hmm.
like, how am I supposed to know if this doctor change is intended or a bug? I was kind of being annoying about it. I was like posting multiple times, like anytime they tweeted, I'm like, hey, what about this doctor bug? Hey, like speaking of doctor, they had the Discord stream going, right? For the like hotfix that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how they did the Discord stream before the update? I was in there and they started talking about the doctor, and I'm like, hey, speaking of the doctor, like, is there any like word on if this is intended, if it's a bug? And I got a warning to stop asking unrelated questions or I could be kicked. Like, it was said in the chat, I like, because Mandy said, like, tag Jeff with your questions, and I was tagging Jeff with my questions, and apparently that was unrelated, even though we were talking about doctor. Like, it was a general warning, but I don't know, it kind of felt directed at me.
Well, I think, like, because I'm all for adding the devs, and again, I feel like, especially, like, if you're adding, like, the Dead by Daylight account itself, and you're literally hearing nothing for weeks or months, at some point, you're like, okay, fine, I'll just go to the source. And I think there is a... When I say this, I don't mean you're doing it, by the way, but
Yeah.
I do think there is a line between, you know, just asking and it being like slightly harassment, but
Yeah.
but
I just want to say this was like during the this was during like the Discord stream where they're asking people like, hey, do you have any questions?
yeah, I feel like it's a perfectly reasonable time to ask it, right? Like, I wouldn't see the problem with that, but at the same time, like, I would, my best guess for something like that was that whoever was, quote, moderating the chat at the time, was Mandy moderating the chat, or was she just there?
No, Mandy was not moderating the chat. It was someone else.
Yeah, I mean,
Mandy was like talking with Jeff, talking about the updates.
They might have had something to say, like, actually, I don't even know why, because you probably mentioned doctor specifically in the question, right?
Yeah, I said, hey, speaking of doctor, can we know if this is an intended change or a bug with its power? It like...
Yeah, I don't...
Just because it was brought up, because people were mentioning spam shocking for unhooking, because there's a change coming where like you can't spam unhook people, and people were like, how will this work with like the doctor shocking? But like, they didn't like at me and say, stop asking questions, but like, it kind of felt directed at me.
Oh, yeah, okay, in that case, it might have just been a...
Yeah, it might have just been general, because there's a lot of people. Yeah, Dead Hard for Distance. Sorry, I'm watching the video, I missed that. So like,
PTSD.
Maybe it wasn't specifically at me, but it was after I asked twice, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, you know, it goes into like the same thing with like Twitter discussions. It's like as I think one of the bigger problems I have with like the Twitter discourse with it is that, and I know you said sometimes we just have to be loud about it. I do think that sometimes, so like if a dev like does a Twitter post and then there's like 100 comments saying the same thing, I do think at that point, especially on an individual perspective, it can come off a little, what's the word I want to look for? Resentful, I guess, is probably the wrong word or the right word. Did you just miss your DS? Anyways, it can come off a little resentful.
Look at my face. Yeah.
But like, and I think the better way to go about something like that is what, like, one or like maybe like 10 people making the comment and like then just getting a bunch of likes or commenting under that comment rather than just 100 people saying the same thing. Because I don't know how, like, it's so, because they are people, even the people behind the social media account. As much as I work customer service, trust me, as much as I try to be professional all the time, there are times when people will say something or like keep asking the same question over and over again, and I might lose my cool a bit. It's again, like posting it on the forums, I think is fine. Posting it like on the Dead by Daylight direct Twitter, I think is fine. Like, And that's why, like, I don't think when a lot of people do it, they do it correctly, but I do think there are some that come off in the wrong way by doing it wrong, especially like when it's worded in the worst way they could possibly word it by throwing in certain words into the conversation when they don't need to be there. Like,
see, I feel like there's ways to try to get answers, and I feel like going about it aggressively isn't the right way. I think staying calm, cool, and collective, and like asking like questions that can't be construed as like rude or attacking someone is probably the best way to go about it.
It's Twitter.
Unfortunately, I don't see that happening a lot. Like, I see a lot of people reacting in the worst ways ever.
It's Twitter. What do you mean? That's the only way some people know how to talk. What do you?
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Twitter. Okay, well, first, like, Dork and Eric had a tweet, like, saying, hey, guys, don't at me for every bug or problem in the game. Like, it feels bad when they have to say that when they're, like, the most active, like...
Well, I do think that's another thing with it, because... Especially, like from the... That's why I said, like, doing it to the main account, I think is fine.
Uh-huh.
But doing it to the individuals, I think is okay, but... doing it all the time, even if they're the ones in charge of it, can get grating on them. I don't know.
I feel like tagging them for issues, unless it is like really bad, especially now that they set like a boundary, then it's like too far.
Mm-hmm. Because like, let's say there's a dev who's in charge of like accessibility features, and that's their entire thing. That's different. Right, that's different. It's like I still don't think it should be added all the time, or like all of the stuff, or like have like their notifications blown up with all the accessibility features, or with all the comments on it. But if it's just a normal dev, and like we don't know specifically what their entire job is, I do think there is a line to like asking them every single time they make a post about it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you should go through forums and then the official accounts, and then like,
well, because
but things like the trickster bug, it's like, well, this should be escalated. Like,
well, yeah, and I think that there's a point where it should be escalated. Obviously, like the trickster, like if it's something like that, especially when it's actually harmful, I feel like if we don't hear anything for like even a couple days. Like at that point,
and I was tweeting consistently for over a month about that before they said anything.
Mm-hmm. At that point, it's like, yeah, no, that I feel is perfectly reasonable. I think that's again, it's the problem with a lot of conversation online, right? It's the nuance gets lost. People are like, oh, so but you're saying we should never at the devs on anything ever. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying like there's a limit, and you should also know who to at and why, right? And then word it.
Yeah,
properly.
Definitely.
Because it's like Matthew Cote, for example. Like, do I really need to at him about colorblind features? Like, is he the person I should be telling? Probably not. Mandy is the community manager, isn't she? Like, I feel like she's probably the better person to do. But even then, I don't feel like I should be doing it on every single post she ever makes.
No,
right?
She's a person. Like, she's beyond just like working at behavior, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's like, especially if it's an irrelevant post. Like, I think Mandy, like, I think she posted a picture of her cat one day. I could be right. Like, a bunch of people were like adding her about Dead by Daylight stuff. It's like, all right, guys, you did not need to do this.
Yeah, she probably has a private account. If not, she probably should get one for her own sanity.
I should definitely make a private account. I don't even get added that much, but my tweets get so misconstrued all the time.
But you want to talk about misconstrued?
What, like?
Actually, I don't know if I should bring this up.
I don't go for it. I don't care.
Well, okay. You remember when people found in the files the shirts that weren't added to the event?
With the Gabe like, and who was the other
Meg,
one? It was Gabe, Meg,
and
Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then people were like, then why did you lie to us? You advertised it. I quoted it saying, guys, this was like never advertised. I really wanted these outfits too. Like, I've said they won't be coming, but like, if you're gonna like criticize them, at least do it for like a valid reason. Like they never advertise these.
No.
I had people saying that like I'm racist because of this, and like I'd be happy if they just called Gabriel a slur, and like what? Yeah, or people are saying I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube.
At this point in the video, anything. You're good.
Oh, that I'm just sucking off daddy behavior, trying to get Twitch shirts, which I've had for a year, by the way. Like, I don't know. Like, I got a lot of weird things like that. And they're like, of course. Like, I don't know. I'm literally trying to P100 Gabriel right now. I literally said I want these shirts. Like, they just never said that they were coming. Like,
That's my favorite argument is when people are like, oh, you're only doing this so you get Twitch shirts. People have made this argument to me before. Guys, I only stream Killer. I don't care. Like,
well, the other thing is people are like, you never criticize the game because you don't want to lose your Twitch shirts. I'm like,
you criticize the game all
what
the
do you
time.
mean I never criticize the game? What do you mean I'm constantly criticizing it, but I'm not like, fuck you behavior, you suck. Like,
Yeah,
there's a different way to go about it.
See, that's your problem. You see, you're too nice about it. You're respectful. People don't like that.
Like, I don't know, like, I don't know, it's just, things get misconstrued so much online. Like you were saying, it's just so weird. Like, I don't know how me saying, like, hey, this was never advertised was, you hate this character and you never want us to get anything for him. I'm literally P100 in Gabriel right now. Like, I don't know. Like, I literally play this character and I complain that he has no good cosmetics. Like,
I'm not that big in the Dead by Daylight space. I know that there's some people who know me and such, but I'm not that big in the Dead by Daylight space. But anytime something of mine blows up, it's almost always something that got misconstrued in some way. It is never like the other day I had a tweet that popped off. I didn't think, again, I'm very small on Twitter. I'd never expect my stuff to get that big. And I was just kind of poking fun at people saying like certain killers take no skill. That was the whole point of the tweet, and people misinterpreted the crap out of that.
yeah, I saw that. It's just wild. Like,
and that's not as severe as people thinking I'm racist, but
I tweeted, I'm like, oh my god, why does no one bring cake? You're all bringing RPD, it's Easter, come on guys. Like, and then I have people that are like, why do you even play this game? You're so miserable, this ruined your whole day over this. I'm like, dude, I tweeted this and I streamed for 7 more hours laughing the whole time. I don't know, like.
and you know, bringing this back to the accessibility thing, it's like, because I've been criticized, even I'm sure I'll get criticized in this video, and I'm sure some chat has criticized me for it, where I kind of come off a bit, how do I want to phrase this? I kind of come off a bit condescending with like some of my counterpoints to some accessibility features, and that's never my intention. Like, I think they should be added. I try to like, I want them to be added in the best way they can. It is always my argument.
I just want to say, you didn't come off condescending at all. Like, I don't.
It's some people, and.
I mean, I sent you some of the fun screenshots I got last time talking about accessibility.
Yeah, it's just like, again, it's just like whenever I bring up the phobia filter too, it's like people like get on my case about it, where it's like, oh, so they either I get some people saying like, oh, so you don't want phobia filters at all, which is not what I said. Or, oh, you just want the game to be bland. It's like, that's not also what I said. Like, it's just like, it's go on.
Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say
it's super frustrating. No, you go.
we're the two people at the doorway. Like, no, you go. It's just like one of my most hated things about being a content creator in any space is being misunderstood about what I'm trying to say. And that's why, because I've been criticized for this, that's why I talk in what I call Twitter speak, where I try to add like 37 qualifiers before I say anything, so there's no possible way I can be misconstrued.
Hi, I'm Chey. I have a general anxiety disorder, and I've been doing the same thing since I was 5. Yeah, but like people still will misinterpret it. They still don't read. They don't care. Like, people will see things how they want like them to be seen.
and it's like I said, just like with the colorblind modes, it's like I would love colorblind modes in this game. I just think that we need to also be careful with how we do it to a degree of like, well, should we change the base aura colors to not to compensate, but to like allow them to be simpler to add, or to allow them to be used with more colorblind modes in general? How many colorblind modes should be added? Like, how should it be implemented? Should it only work on auras? Should it work on the base maps? Should it work like stuff like that? Same with like the fire barrel thing you said with the footsteps. Like with if we add an audio like a visual audio feature, should the fire barrels be affected by it? Should general footsteps be affected by it? What about walking footsteps? What about perks like light footed? How is that going to affect it? Like there's so much nuance in these topics. It's not as simple as just add it or just don't add it, right? It's just, and that's
Yeah.
Again, it's like whenever I'm saying these things, it's never me trying to be dismissive or condescending. It's me trying to like think of all the things that get affected by it, how they're affected, and what we should do to make them work in the best way they can.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair way to go about it too, because like, you don't want anything that's going to cause issues, like
right. And it's the same thing with like even from like a balance perspective, but like the colorblind mode, it's like I wouldn't mind if they like just like tomorrow added like a basic color. I don't know. I feel bad for not knowing like colorblind terms. But like added a basic colorblind mode, right? Like one that's better than the basic one they have now. I was gonna say, like,
people who are watching this, I also realized we didn't really go into detail about the trickster bug, in case like, what do you mean, what trickster bug? Like, but like right now the colorblind settings aren't great. If you know anyone who's colorblind, they probably cannot like solely use the colorblind settings. I'm not colorblind, so I can't say from like my firsthand experience, but I have friends who are colorblind who like have to go use reshade and NVIDIA filters because it's essentially like there's no colorblind mode.
Most of the people using colorblind mode right now are using it just so Ken's things are blue.
Yeah.
Like that's and that's not me laughing at people like with colorblind. I'm just saying like that's the main reason I see people using it at the moment. It's things.
Yeah.
It's just like again, it's just I do want them to try and at least attempt it, because I'm a big advocator of how do I phrase this in a nice way? I'm a huge advocator of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks kind of things, which I know doesn't.
It's kind of how you have to do things sometimes.
Yeah, and I know like the way I talk sometimes it doesn't come across that way, but this goes into balance, but also this goes into my balancing philosophy, but also with things like accessibility and game health and player enjoyment and the general player experience. It's like with because this is a bit more balanced and player experience kind of thing, but like with the anti-slug and anti-tunnel thing they're talking about adding soon, I'm all for it. I don't even know what it is, right? I'm all for them trying it. It's just like with the base kit unbreakable thing they did a few years ago. I am fucking old. I
remember that. That was my first step into talking about accessibility on this game, because the last person standing had their FOV change, and that made me motion sick. And I brought that up, and that was my first step into discussing accessibility on Dead by Daylight. I was like, oh, I got so much hate for saying, hey, can it be a toggleable option to change your FOV? Like,
yeah, because that was a criticism like monitor and abuse got. I knew a lot of people who couldn't run that perk because of the FOV changing.
Oh, while we're talking about like FOVs, like there's so much in this game. I'm just gonna forget. I'm so scatterbrained. There's so much in this game that like will change your FOV and it makes me motion sick. Like, some of them are completely out of my control. Like this happens to me like once a year. Which you might be like, Chey, that sounds so dramatic for something that barely happens, but it could happen a lot more. I'll be a solo queue survivor, and someone will use the event syringe on me, and that changes my FOV, and that makes me incredibly sick. Like, if I don't notice it right away and I start moving, then I have to go lay down or end stream. Like, I just can't Like, I can't play for 30 to 60 minutes after that happens. I have to like DC or AFK once it happens too. Like, I feel so bad. Like, my teammates who are trying to help me are making me physically ill without knowing it, right?
Mm-hmm. And
just
again,
because like my FOV is changing, and it's so like
it's just
maybe like Chey, you're dramatic. Oh, trust me, I wish I wasn't like this. I wish I didn't get sick. I like my whole life I've just gotten incredibly motion sick, and there's certain games that I can't play, certain killers that I can't play. I can't play Chucky because I get motion sick playing him.
From the dash,
by, like,
the FOV changing.
The FOV changing when you're hooking, like it like pans in and then it pans out, and then I'm so sorry if you noticed this and you've never noticed it before, but when Chucky goes to break a pallet, it like slightly moves like the camera in such a weird way. That I have to like close my eyes if I kick a pallet. You know how like frustrating that is? Like I'm like, oh, kicking a pallet, gotta close my eyes so I don't get sick. Like,
it's funny because there actually is a solution that Chucky has for that they could easily add to all of that.
Really?
When he goes into hidey ho mode, his FOV changes.
See, I just can't even play him. Yeah, it changes like very slightly, right? It's like not a huge change. It's very slight.
Yeah, but did you know it did that?
I don't know, because whenever I play him, I'm already just feeling sick.
So okay,
no, I didn't.
But the reason,
I guess I'll say no.
Well, no, because I've asked a lot of people and they don't notice it either for that, because I've heard the complaint about him, the FOV changing when you go to hook and such, or pick up or things, which I've given behavior credit because of how smooth it is for what it is, but it does still have its issues. But the way they solved it for the hidey ho one is the sides of your screen go black while it's happening.
Oh, so it's less noticeable.
So you barely notice it. I only notice it because I use the third-person camera all the time, so I know when that shit zooms in by a millimeter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sides of the screen go slightly black while it's happening. And they could just add that to any FOV change right there. Boom. Or just
that
make
might help a lot.
For him in particular, that would be, I think, the best solution. But for the other killers or other FOV changes, I mean, a simple toggle to just make it so your FOV doesn't change.
That's what I've been asking for years. I want a toggle where I can check it and it will say my FOV can literally physically never change. Like, please, that is all I ask for. They actually added more things. You know how they were changing like the store and things recently, like last year? Mm-hmm. They also made it when you switch between killers of different heights, like when you switch from like Nemesis to like Pig, it like pans out or pans in depending which one you're switching to and from. That makes me motion sick. Like, if you go through the store, things will like change different sizes, and like it also pans in and out in a way that makes me feel sick. Like, I can't navigate the store without feeling motion sick. Like, it's kind of frustrating. Like, I have to know what to like look for. Like, I don't play killer that much, luckily, but
pardon my ignorance on this. Does motion blur help or hurt?
I don't like motion blur. No.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, I was just curious. I wasn't sure.
I know for some people it helps, but I'm not for me, it doesn't seem to help. But like I said, I'm an extreme case. Like, ever since I was little, I used to have to take like medicine if I was in a car for more than 10 minutes. Like I would have to prepare ahead of time. Like, I just get motion sick super easily.
Yeah, and we mentioned it a few times, but you know, there's never. It might come off dismissive a bit to say this, but there's never going to be a case where everyone, where everything is fixed to a point to where literally everyone, no matter the case, is able to not experience some of these issues. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't try to alleviate the ones that are there, you know, especially especially the common cases. I think
definitely.
I think that's what irks me more about it, is that even the common ones aren't being like fixed, and the argument is because of the more extreme ones. Because it's God, what is the word for this argument? It's an argument type where it's basically like, we can't do that because if we do that, why wouldn't we can't address this other issue, so we shouldn't address this issue too. And
it just sounds like excuses. I'm not sure what it's actually called, but yes. I've definitely seen that before, and it's just like, I don't see how me like having a toggle would like affect anything, right?
But and again, it's
I don't know. And like you said, you can add things slowly over time. It's better than doing nothing.
It's easier than doing nothing too.
Or like trying to do it all at once.
Yeah, and plus if you do it all at once, then probably some issues will probably crop up from it. Like, what if the colorblind mode suddenly stops working? And
you can't tell what's causing what. Yeah, like things like that. Like,
because
I don't know.
Because I mean, it took them how long to add an FOV slider in general? 7 years or something. So I don't remember if it was year 7 or year 8.
I can't remember. It was either 7 or 8. You're right on that, though. It's just, there's so much, like you said, that people might not even like be like, oh, that's an accessibility thing, but it would fall under that.
Well, yeah, it's like I mentioned earlier with like the ping system before we started streaming. The ping systems in Apex Legends and a lot of other modern games is technically an accessibility feature for people.
See, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah, if you can't communicate through text or speech for whatever reason, not even necessarily for from technical limitations, but even like physical ones. Like if you're someone who has a stutter or someone who someone with tics and things like that, like, or someone who just can't talk, like you're for whatever reason, or social anxiety from using the mic, like a lot of these things, like the ping system helps with that. So it's
and you just brought up something that I know we said we want to talk about, like some people have trouble like typing or things like that. Some people have trouble holding like their mouse down or their button down for a long time. So you know how we recently as in what, 2 years ago?
Got the toggle.
We got the toggle hold option. I actually had someone bring this up to me on one of my tweets, and they were like, oh, honestly, a huge accessibility thing that I never see brought up is if I had the option to turn on like toggle run. Yes. I'm like, I have never thought of that because that doesn't affect me. I never turn that on in games, but they're like bringing that up to me and letting me know that they have a physical disability where it's difficult for them to hold buttons like for long periods of time, but they can like hit skill checks easy. They can like move their like analog stick or whatever. Like they can turn directions. It's just like the act of physically holding a button for long periods of time is like an accessibility issue for them. And small things like this, like small changes like this, can make the world of a difference for someone, and it can make them feel like they're seen, this game cares about them, and they can play it without like physical issues, without like hurting their hands or like feeling limited. Do you know how frustrating it feels when you can't do something like that everyone else can, and it makes you like, I don't know, just play worse or at a disadvantage? Like, I don't know, like having small changes like this can really just make someone's day, and like know that you care about them and want them like as a player in the game.
Yeah, and kind of bringing it back to the idea of it's an accessibility feature when people don't even really think about it being one. With the whole like toggle run thing, as I am not that old. I know I'm old to the internet, but as an older gentleman, my fingers hurt all the time.
Probably doesn't help that you're a gamer.
Yeah, so my pinky finger holding the shift button for long periods of time does get on my nerves, and not get on my nerves makes it sound dismissive, but it does affect me. It's why I don't play Survivor that much, because the holding shift for as long as I have to does.
So I actually have that issue too. I buy like smaller keyboards, so it's like less distance and it hurts a little less for me. Because I have tiny hands, so I experience some things like that.
Yeah, and it's not even like it's an accessibility feature, not just for people with physical issues with it, but necessarily, but also ones with technical issues to it. Like if you just have like a bad keyboard, like it'd be nice if I could map the button to something else, or what if I don't want to like constantly tap the button? Like we had the wiggle change.
Yeah. That was an accessibility change. Yeah, a lot of people were upset about that, but they didn't realize it was like genuinely changed for accessibility.
Yeah, and it's
with the old flashlight clicks. Like if you bring that up, people are like, they ruined one of the best parts of the game when it was literally giving people seizures. But then people would be like, well, there's a warning for seizures when you boot up the game, but like, I don't know. That shouldn't be an excuse. Every game has that. And that used to only appear like the first time you ever opened it, and it was for like half a second, and then like you never saw it again. Like now it appears when you open the game.
Yeah, it's almost like a Trickster made that. It all comes back to Trickster. But even like stuff like again, that doesn't seem like accessibility features. Even like I'm saying like a bunch in this because I'm trying to gather my thoughts. It's even keyboard mapping, like I just mentioned a second ago. That's an accessibility feature, not just from a technical
100%.
perspective, but even from like the perspective of let's say like the R key is too far for your fingers to reach. It'd be nice if I could swap whatever's on the R key to E.
Mm-hmm.
Or if my...
It would also be nice if like every action in the game wasn't tied to the same button.
That's a controller issue more than a keyboard issue, but yeah, fair enough.
No, there's times where I'm trying to like mend, but it makes me open a gate or like
no.
Or...
I mean, like that's because controller is the issue. like it's an issue because controller doesn't have as many buttons.
So they don't want people to have an advantage on keyboard versus controller,
which is dumb, especially in the coming months. Since keyboard is going to be allowed on consoles soon.
Oh, yeah. I completely misunderstood what you meant by that. So thank you for explaining. Like, well, I didn't understand that was why there are limitations.
There's a couple buttons extra on controller, from what I understand. I don't play on controller, so I don't fully know. But there's about,
I play on Steam Deck sometimes.
Yeah, there's like I think there's like 3 extra buttons that don't do anything. But the other problem with that is if they want to add something else for those buttons and down the line, I guess they want to keep them open.
I'm sorry, I just thought of another accessibility thing.
What is that?
I mentioned that I play on Steam Deck sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the most frustrating parts about playing on Steam Deck is that I cannot turn mute focus on and alt tab to avoid every single scream that happens in the game. I have to hear my survivors screaming so loud whenever I get hooked. Where like on PC, I make sure my mute focus is on, but it always turns off like every 3rd or 4th game. I don't know why, and then I have to turn it back on.
I remember telling a streamer once because they asked why I hit on hook. It was a what I'm gonna forget. It was Saga Anderson. I don't know if you've heard Saga Anderson scream.
Oh, unfortunately.
Yeah. So
it is piercing.
Yeah, I hit Sagas and Sable, or not Sable. Who's the other really loud one? I can't remember offhand.
Is it Elodie?
I think it is Elodie. Yeah, I hit them
because she is one of the ones that I like. Yeah, I used to hit survivors on hook to stop their scream.
Yeah, I hit them on hook to stop the scream, and I went to their chat after stream, and they were like, "It's really toxic of you to hit me on hook," and I was like, "I was doing it to stop the scream." And they were like, "No, you weren't. Why would no one does that?" It's like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I used to hit every survivor on hook to mute their scream because like it just gives me a headache. Like if I'm playing DBD for like 8 hours a day, I don't want to hear.
Especially with Steve with screen partner, scene partner right now.
Yeah.
By the way,
I got 4 lobby of them.
By the way, Survivor players, if you really want to annoy the killers, do that, but play Saga. Trust me.
Don't do that on PC. That's okay. Killer queues are so long. I'm never queuing up as killer.
Killer queues aren't that long right now. Like they're like 3 minutes at most.
They're 6 to 10 minutes.
Might have been like 3 minutes at most.
Dude, mine are like 6 to 10 minutes, but I play NA East in the morning, so.
When you say morning, what do you mean?
Like I start like 10 a.m.
Oh, okay. That's why I play at demon hours at like 1 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Like once it hits like 6 or 7 p.m., then it starts getting a little bit quicker, I've noticed. But like,
yeah,
I'm usually offline by then.
speaking of the keyboard and mouse thing, also, I never get a chance to say this or plug this that often. Behavior, add gyro controls to Dead by Daylight, please. Okay, moving on.
What does that mean?
Gyro, do you play on Switch at all?
Oh, is that like when it vibrates?
No, gyro controls are motion controls in the with the controller to allow you to aim.
Oh.
Yeah, Splatoon like exclusively uses this.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can use joystick, but it's not recommended in Splatoon. But Warframe has it as well on Switch. A lot of games on Switch don't have it for some reason. But it's I will advocate for it as an option at all times because it's so much better than a joystick. I will die on that hill. And the closest you can get to like keyboard and mouse accuracy with a controller.
Yeah.
And it is technically an accessibility feature too. Because
that would be cool to have in game, honestly.
Yeah, and before someone says they can't add it to other consoles, almost every controller on the planet has motion controls built in. Right now, PS4 has it, PS5 has it, Xbox One doesn't have it, but I think the new Xbox does, and Switch has it on the Joy-Cons base. I don't see why it's not an option.
Yeah, but like, I guess before we get like too far into this, I just want to make sure we hit all of our points that we wanted to.
Yeah, I think
we have essentially.
Well, we hit colorblind, we hit the volume sliders, light sensitivity, that was the darken the screen thing, motion sickness.
A simple, like a fix for motion sickness would literally just be a toggle. Like keep my FOV the same, do not change it. Like I don't know if they could implement that, but
yeah, and then
that'd be great for me personally.
And then adjusting some of the more jarring things, like I don't know, is the hag camera pull, is that technically a motion sickness? I know I sound sensitive asking this, but is that more a motion sickness issue than anything else? Because it kind of
I personally don't get motion sick from it, but I'm sure that other people might.
Yeah.
Like it's different for everyone, like we've been saying. So like for me, it doesn't affect my motion sickness.
I think it's because there's no blur. It just straight up turns your camera.
Yeah. It jump scares me, sure, but it doesn't make me nauseous.
I think one in here that I didn't list was the tinnitus ones, which I think there's only one thing in the game that still does it. Actually, it's the ear on hag, and I think it's the only one. The
like muffled.
Yeah, I think the muffled noises is fine. But I do think the sharp ringing is the issue that it does.
Knockout used to really bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I alt tab anytime I got hit by knockout, and if I was playing with any of my friends, they would let me know if they declared as knockout, so I can hop into a locker to avoid it. And like, they wouldn't care like if my chases were washed. They're like, whatever, don't get sick.
Because like I don't.
It was like
go on. Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
Oh, it was like the visual effect along with the audio that like really affected me with knockout. Like I alt tab and I like look away. See, mute focus once again coming in handy.
Yeah, because like I don't mind the idea of a perk or an add-on or something that like makes you deaf in game. I don't mind that at all. I do mind that the only two that did it, which were knockout and hag's ear, that did the sharp pain and made you muffled, or not muffled, but I just don't get why it couldn't just make the game mute while you're like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like rather than
like, it's a fine line to walk, like you were saying, between like accessibility and like the art direction or like the feel, the atmosphere of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe that was part of the atmosphere. Like this is, but like I don't know.
Well, again, like other games have like things that mute you and don't like do a sharp ringing to do it.
Yeah.
Or muffle things. They just straight up turn the audio off when it happens. It's just, again, it's the thing with it, because it's like I don't think like an entire class of perk, because like they got rid of it with knockout after its rework, and so the only thing that has it left now is hag's ear. That's it. It's the only deafened effect in the entire game. And again, the idea of like something that makes you not be able to hear in game as a perk, I think it could be an interesting concept. But at the same time, I do understand it could lead to issues.
Yeah. It's like a fine line to balance, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to say, like, when I'm advocating for accessibility, and I know a lot of others too, but I try to only speak for myself. Just, I feel like that's the best thing to do. I'm not asking for like removal of things, or for Dead by Daylight to not like keep innovating, right? Or trying different art directions or things like that. I just want there to be options to make things more accessible. Like this whole thing that we've been saying this whole time are just like options, toggleable options that no one has to force. It doesn't impact the other players. Just things like that. Like I still want to keep seeing what they're cooking up, like design wise and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, because like I think Singularity is a good example of this, because Singularity is probably one of the a character that's not talked about that often, that I do think is an accessibility issue for people because of how the cameras can operate, especially if you use the auto lock or for whatever reason, because of the juxtaposition of swapping camera to camera. But that's one of those examples where I don't think, similar to like spirit tracking with audio, that can be fixed in a way that would be better for the game. Again, I don't like saying this, but there are situations where it's just like, this killer just isn't for you, and I'm sorry for that, you know?
Yeah, because there are definitely things that you could touch on like killer side with like accessibility issues, but I feel like mainly it's voiced within the survivor community, because like you said, like you don't choose what killer you go against. A lot of the issues are like related to killers or like their powers or
like
their perks, I guess, in some cases, but
puking
like
from Nemesis and Plague. I only said Nemesis because Nemesis is on screen and gets...
Oh, do you remember the Nemesis cough like bug where it was like nonstop? Like,
what was it, like every second?
Yeah, it was so like, it was bananas. It was driving me wild. I started desing against Nemesis. I was like, I can't do this. Like, it's genuinely like bothering me. It's giving me a headache.
I think something they tried to do for Plague was make it so the vomiting was random, but I don't think it doesn't help. Because I think
like I have to play muted. Like I can't hear my own survivor vomiting without feeling sick. I don't even have the phobia. I'm just saying the phobia so I don't like mispronounce it and sound ignorant.
The thing with that, because that's also that brings us to a broader conversation of the difference between a phobia and a general discomfort, because there is a difference, but the Plague one, I feel, kind of, how to explain this, because most humans are naturally wired, if we hear or see puking, to feel discomfort. It's a survival instinct, but the general unease that it does cause for some people is a concern with it, right? Because again, you're not, you're not choosing to play against Plague.
And like, you don't know until you load in.
Right. And it's not like it's not the situation of you're going down the street and someone pukes and then like, oh, that guy shouldn't have puked. That's just ridiculous. No one's saying that, right?
Yeah.
Even though someone might bring that up as an argument, I'm sure. But
well, it's like I'm that friend where like if my friend is drunk and like throwing up and like, Chey, come hold my hair, I can't, because I'll start throwing up with them. Like I just can't. I don't handle like puke or like spit or anything like that well. Like I always hated that trope in like movies or games where like there's a big giant and then like he drools and it lands on like the cast or something. Like I can't. Like I start gagging. I almost throw up immediately. I'm like, I can't do this. Like I turn off whatever is on. I'm like, no, I'm out. Like
yeah, from the science behind it, for most people, it's the sound effects some people more, the visual effects some people more. The thing that gets I think it's 99% of humans is the smell.
Oh yeah, I'm very sensitive to smells.
And again, it's a survival instinct. It's a survival evolution, is what it is. Oh, you didn't miss your DS that time.
Yeah, good thing the zombie caught me.
It's just helping you out. It's just the other thing with it too is because I feel like the Plague one is such a valid thing.
Yeah.
Like valid's not the word I want to use, but it's such a common thing, right? This is not one like I hear like once in a blue moon. This is something I hear on the daily from like 10 different people.
Yeah, I wonder if Doctor or Plague is brought up more. I think those are the two biggest ones, right?
I would
with like their powers causing issues.
I would assume it's probably Plague brought up more, and the reason I say that is because Plague's is more simple and not simple, but it's more of a change that I think a lot of people could see actually happening. I think the Doctor one is a tougher one to do because of the thematics they're trying to present. Plagues is a little different because it's
I will say I've heard this brought up with Plague where like, oh, if there's a toggle to turn off the survivor vomiting, then like who would have it on? They should just delete it at that point. And I'm like, I don't know, there's people who are like, it's horror, so wouldn't they want to keep it on?
Well, also if it's a toggle to turn on, a lot of people like if they don't know the toggle exists and they don't experience issues, they're not going to turn it off.
Yeah.
That's way more common than I think people realize. I mean, Last of Us 2 has an auto pickup option. I didn't know this was a thing. I never turned it on, even though it would make my life easier. I just don't, because I kind of like pressing the button every time.
With Silent Hill 2 remake, you can turn your enemies into like just like essentially red or blue like outlines or like blobs, kind of like.
Yeah, and that moves on. The other one thing we have listed here, or I had listed here, was the gamma settings, which we talked about a little bit, but from what we understand, it's mostly just a brightness setting, honestly.
So I'm a little bit concerned about the gamma settings because I know Eric tweeted once in response, like a ton of people were saying that they were getting banned in like the only program that uses read shade, right? And then Eric made like a vague tweet like, hey, if you're banned, you're probably banned for a reason. Like, obviously there are some false bans. And then I responded along the lines of, I'm happy you said this. I was getting a little bit concerned because everyone was just saying like they only use reshade, and then he's like, reshade is allowed, but like sometime in the future we'd like it so that like we had enough options where people didn't have to use reshade. So my only thing is with reshade, I can have a ton of presets for different maps. Like I love that. Now if we have the gamma settings, are we only going to have one option? Are we going to have 3? Do I have to load into a game and then customize it every single time? Like once I know what map I'm on? Like, I guess that's my concern for it. Like,
yeah, I mean, would it be, I mean, I'm sure it'd be possible, but like, would it be better if they just added the gamma setting for every different map, or would it just be like,
that'd be so cool. If you could customize it like that, that would be great. Yeah.
Because
and like if you don't do it, then it's like whatever the default is.
Mm-hmm. Well,
also, wait, completely like kind of unrelated, but like if any of you guys make Dead by Daylight content, just know that like a big portion of your viewers are probably on mobile, and if you play Dead by Daylight with no filters on like for yourself or on OBS at all, it is super hard for us mobile viewers to see anything that's going on.
Yeah.
Please use filters, even on OBS. Like, even if you don't want to use filters yourself for like whatever reason, like there is a way for you to do it on OBS so that like your viewers can see better. You just go in, you add a filter to the game overlay, and then you can like just increase the brightness there, and like you don't have to see it on your end at all.
You actually convinced me to start using filters, actually.
Or did I?
Yeah, for that exact reason. I still need to fix my...
Some of my friends, I had to stop watching. I'm like, I genuinely can't see. Same with like closed captions. Y'all, if you're content creators, I can give you a link right now to get closed captions super easy, and it's great, and it's so good for accessibility.
The closed caption one's a little... Okay, the problem with me with closed captions, I don't know what it is, but they never pick up right for me. I don't know why.
It's still like better than nothing, though. No, it happens to me too. I'm bad at enunciating my words correctly, and I like my words like kind of flow together, and I'm trying my best to like speak in clearer ways, but like I mumble, and I don't know if slurring my words together is the right way to say it, but like
I just talk.
When I'm editing and I'm like trying to cut things, I'm like, oh my god, why do I say these two words together with no gap at all? Like my A turns into like an S of the next word. Like I don't know.
I just talk too fast is from what I can tell is what it is. At least sometimes. Sometimes I'm very deliberate. Other times I'm just talking like I am now with massive run-on sentences.
Yeah.
The filter one though. If anyone needs a link to a good one, though, Hens has a video about setting it up and downloading Reshade and such if you want it for in-game. And the 3 settings Hens has are no filter, bright maps, and dark maps, and then one for Old Borgo. which
Yeah.
So if you want a simple one, that's what I use, and it's the simplest one. I have the bright map one turned on, and that's the only one I almost ever use. I
have a few on top of that. Contra makes some really nice ones.
Mm-hmm.
I have ones that make Macmillan and Autohaven look so pretty.
Yeah. And then I use the Borgo one for Ormond.
Real Soloris has one for Eerie Crows. If you guys struggle seeing on Eerie Crows, like, I think I can drop that file somewhere. I don't know where. I don't know how to do this for a YouTube video. I can send it to you.
Just send it out. I'll see if I can link it.
And then Contra also has one for Cold Wind. The only thing is, on, like, Cold Wind, like, any maps with, like, yellow that you're trying to negate, or, like, make it less harsh, if there's a boon, it's gonna be really, really blue. It's gonna be, like, unbearably blue. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Don't hang out in boons for too long.
It's a good thing people don't bring boons. I mean, they might. There's some concerns about the new fucking what's it called? By the time this is out, it'll be out. But the buff to, oh my god, Dark Theory. There we go. I can remember the name.
Oh, Boon Yoichi.
Yeah, this Boon Yoichi.
I have my friends call it Boon Yoichi.
What's the other one? Boon Gabe? Or not Gabe. Fuck. Boon Jonah. I forget Jonah exists. I'm so sorry.
Wait, is it Jonah? Wait, who am I thinking of?
No, it's Jonah.
Jonah doesn't have...
Yeah, Exponential.
Well, Expo, yeah.
Exponential, it's Jonah.
Yeah, I don't know. Who cares about Jonah? Sorry.
You're not helping the allegations.
No, it's just Bunyuichi, because I always forget Dark Theory. I don't know why. That's just a name I can never remember.
Because no one ever brings it.
Yeah, so if you ever see it, I'm like, Bunyuichi.
Yeah, and people are concerned that I really don't think the 1% bump is going to make it a big problem.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, that's really what it is. We'll see. Especially with the map offering change. Like I just...
And I guess it's like a general thing I just want to say. Even if something doesn't affect you, I think it's great to, like, listen to how it could impact others. Like, I don't know, whenever I try to bring up accessibility, I get told, like, this game isn't for you, go play Barbie, go play Minecraft, go do this. But, like, again, I don't know, it's just a small thing that can make this game so much more enjoyable for so many people that you might not even realize. Like, having some, like, empathy and just, like, being kind to others goes a long way, especially in this day and age, you know?
Well, again, like, it's not like a Subnautica situation, right?
I know, but, like, people will act like it is.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it is.
Yeah. That's I don't expect the Subnautica devs to add a way to make it so that I can play that game. I don't, because it's virtually impossible. I remember someone got a lot of. To be fair, it was a pretty insensitive joke, but I laughed. I probably shouldn't have, but
was it the Roblox?
The one? Roblox one where. If you put on the setting for having the last phobia, it just says, well, I guess you can't play the game. I shouldn't have laughed at it, but I don't know. It's my point is, I understand that a game like that it's virtually impossible, but a game like Dead by Daylight, it's not. That's, I think, the main point with a lot of this.
Yeah, and horror can be accessible. Just because something is a horror game does not mean that it cannot be accessible. There are so many horror games that have so many accessibility settings. Like, we brought up Silent Hill 2. Would you consider Last of Us horror? Yeah, that's horror, right? That's scary.
It has a gore setting. You can turn the gore off.
Even, like, Lethal Company. You can say that's horror. That's horror. They have that setting. They have accessibility settings. So many. And, like, even games that aren't horror games are adding more accessibility. Like, it's kind of becoming industry standard to have, like, at least arachnophobia as a setting.
Yeah, and again, like it'd be one thing if Dead by Daylight was an indie game, but it's not. That's the other thing with it, right?
And Dead by Daylight is kind of like, is it weird to say it's kind of a giant? And, like, I don't know, like, what other asymmetrical horror game is out there that's, like, as big as Dead by Daylight and has been big for so long? And it kind of, like, has so many different licenses. Like, if it's kind of a big name in horror, yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it should be setting standards and not following up so slowly on them.
VHS, I rest in peace, but VHS had a major problem with the whole audio thing because there was no scratch marks in VHS. Mm-hmm. The only tracking you had was audio.
I think it's the same in like Home Sweet Home.
Mm-hmm. And that was a lot of people don't bring it up, but I feel like that was a major reason why that game did not do as well as it could have. Because
I never played VHS, but there are a few other factors.
Well, no, there's other factors. Don't get me wrong.
But yeah, no, but you're saying it's like harder for like the average person to like easily play it, and
yeah,
and you want people to be able to play your game without getting like completely frustrated or feeling like
because
they can't do anything.
Because I think the other thing, and this goes into the arguments that a lot of people have for accessibility features, we're not suggesting with any of these features that the game just plays itself.
Oh, definitely not. No.
Right.
We just want ways for people to be able to play the game.
But I don't understand the logic of like, even with the visual like audio stuff, as much as I like criticize and said some things about like how it should be done or things like this, even if it was added like base the way Fortnite does it, I do not think that would be considered an advantage of such a proportion that it really matters that much in the end. It's not even considering the fact that Dead by Daylight doesn't even have a ranked or competitive mode anyways, so it doesn't matter. Like, was it? I mean, you get what I'm saying with that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like this game isn't to the degree of like if they added directional audio to like Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege. There's no competitive, like the game has a competitive nature. It's a PvP game, of course it does, but it's not so competitive to the point where we're adding an accessibility feature that could even modicumly, I'm going to use that word in heavy quotes, add some form of competitive advantage, again in quotes, that it would cause that many issues. I don't understand where the argument stems from for that. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't know.
I just don't understand where the argument even forms from. Like, I kind of get it for certain things. Like, I'm trying to think of one offhand. Like, the ping system. I think we talked about that earlier. Dead by Daylight already doesn't have a way to communicate base games, so adding a ping system for accessibility might be overstepping it a bit, but if they did add a communication system in the game and it was a ping system, I don't think anyone would complain. But I do think the argument... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No. I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
Well, no, you're good. What I was just going to say is like I could see the argument for it being a competitive advantage, but at the same time, if everyone has access to it, then it's not. By definition.
Exactly. But like also a lot of accessibility issues that we're bringing up are things that were on mobile, and like I don't think they were an issue on mobile. And a lot of Dead by Daylight, like for balancing, don't you want to bring solo queue up to like in line with Swift? Wouldn't a ping system be like a good way to start doing that? Like you can say I'm going to unhook, or like things like that. Like
even a text wheel.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people recommend. Like being able to like ping like killer here, like that might be too much, right? But being able to say like I'm going for this or I'm doing that, like might be.
So I'm gonna do my obligatory part of the podcast where I bring up League of Legends. Have you played League?
Yeah, I've dumped thousands of dollars into that freaking game.
Okay, so you probably know what I'm about to bring up. Do you know what Pinglish is?
I've never heard the term, no.
So Pinglish is when it's an entire language that the competitive side, or not even the competitive, some of the base players have too, but basically the competitive side found a way to communicate only with pings. For things that...
Oh, is it like when you get ganked from someone and then you spam ping them like, question mark, why didn't you say your lane was missing? Like,
well, yes, but no. more like, especially before they updated it a couple years ago, because they actually added more. I haven't played the game in a while, but like you can like on my way base like 3 times, and then ping the tower, ping the tower to say attack tower, and in Pinglish that means attack the tower for 1 plate and then we back.
Oh.
Or like you could like ping the river with like a missing symbol and then a danger symbol. That means I don't know where the enemy in here is, and we should be wary of it.
Okay, that sounds cool. But I feel like that could also lead to confusion. Like, how am I supposed to know like what's what? Because I was actually having this discussion like randomly a few months ago. Like, I was like, if you are spam like tapping self on hook and flinging your arms on hook, what does it mean? What does that mean to you? Does it mean anything?
It's weird with stuff like that, because a lot of times, especially with the League community, like I said, especially at the higher levels of play, like it's kind of understood what they mean. Like again, it's its own language and culture at that point.
See, my understanding for that, for the self like spamming on hook, that means I'm being camped. Don't come get me. For some people,
is that what it means?
Some people say that's what I was told when I was first learning. Like, that was before the anti-camp meter. Like, Bubba's face camping me. Don't come get me.
I thought what it meant was go get me now.
See, that some people do it like no one's getting me, so I'm gonna start flailing my arms so they know to come get me. Some people, I'm just bored, so I click it.
Maybe it's more of a Dead by Daylight problem. Because
it's just like, how are you supposed to know like what it means, right? Which is why I think maybe like a wheel with set things might be good.
Because even in Rainbow Six Siege because Rainbow Six Siege doesn't have it has a ping system, but it's not like other games. It's literally just a ping. It doesn't mean anything. But there's like call-outs in that game that people do in the voice comms, and if I told you some of the call-outs in that game, it would sound like a different language. If I said Harry Potter, would you know what that meant?
If you just said Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. That's a call-out in Rainbow Six Siege.
No,
Under the stairs. It means under the stairs.
That's so funny.
But the thing is, because of how the Siege community is, unless like you're a brand new like 10-hour player, everyone knows what that means.
That's really funny.
Like there's other ones like I love like there's a specific corner in one of the maps that's called Africa. And the reason it's called that is because the corner is shaped like the bottom half of Africa. But again,
that's great.
But again, if I say it on the comm, like he's holding Africa, almost everyone will know what I mean. It's even like there's one map. I forget which map. I haven't played in so long. There's one map where there's a rafter system, and the rafters have it goes unblocked, blocked, unblocked, blocked, and there's a call out for every single one of those sections. It's R1, R2, R3, RU1, RU2, RU3. Like again, like, people are smart with that stuff, and like that's why I think like if the community, especially with how the community is now, I feel like if we added the ping, and that's not me saying we shouldn't add one, but I really do think a language would form from it. I mean, we already kind of see that with pointing and the come here thing.
Yeah. Oh, I think it would be cool if we had more actions as survivors. Like,
can we add emotes now? Can that be a thing?
Can I hit the gwitty?
Did you think gwitty?
Yeah, I want to hit the gwitty. Wesker can hit me with the ooh boo woos, and then I'll hit the gwitty.
I was playing RE5 with a friend, and they said uwu boros, and I fucking lost my mind.
You can say owo bowos,
owo
boo woos. whatever rolls off the tongue for you.
I remember someone made the joke of Wesker probably has a bumper sticker that just says Ouroboros is my co-pilot.
That's hilarious. I there is one more like killer that I want to talk about in regards for accessibility though. Before I forget.
Who is that?
I feel like it gets overlooked a lot. Dredge. Dredge is an accessibility issue for multiple reasons, and it all has to do with nightfall.
The screaming noises.
Yeah, I personally play against Dredge completely muted because of the screaming noises. I'll get a migraine. It's like too much for me. And then I know people who are like is visually impaired, the correct way to say it, that really struggle with nightfall. Like I know it's supposed to be hard to see, so I'm not sure how you would change that. But for the screams, I feel like that's something you could definitely just like make quieter.
Yeah, the scream one I think is definitely an easy fix. That's just either make it quieter.
Or like an option to turn it. Well, I don't know. People say turning it off would be too strong because then you hear Dredge sloshing around. But like,
well, again, you could just have a slider for killer audio, and then you fix the whole problem.
I agree with that. I just don't know if it's something that we'll ever see. Like, how come we can't mute blood webs at this point? Like, I feel like it's all ingrained and it might be too hard to do. But hopefully, it's something that they can do in the future.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is with it too, because there are some killers where audio is very important. So I would the baseline it's at now is where I would keep it and then let people adjust it to lower it if they have to. Because again, I bring up Chucky because the laugh is one of the best tells in the game if you know how to use it, and if you were able to increase the volume on that would be a problem. But being able to lower it so you don't have to deal with it, that's not a problem at all. And then with Dredge, like you mentioned, I feel like that gets rid of the screaming issue. The nightfall issue, as far as like the visual part, yeah, that one's a little bit more complicated because unlike the clown situation where I don't think that's causing you to actually get downs on the people that you think it is, the Dredge one is one where I think that's kind of just inherently part of the power.
This is why it's like I feel like Dredge and like Doctor are kind of hard to discuss, right? Like with what changes you would make. Yeah,
because even on the Doctor end, like I'm fine with the jump scare. I don't play against Doctor often. Is the jump scare part of it still there? The part where his face
part of the bug. It's bugged. And yes, it's back now.
Okay.
Because of the bug.
Yeah, like that could probably be obviously be removed. It was removed, and they said they're going to. But some of the other things like skill checks popping up in random places, I've heard some people say that's an accessibility issue. But at the same time, that I feel like is actually like a thematic thing and not even a thematic, that actually is a gameplay thing with it, right?
I feel like if you're adjusting... I don't know how I want to phrase this. It's tough, right? Like,
yeah, because like
I don't want anyone to feel invalidated. I don't know how you can change Nightfall without it like affecting like Dredge's like power.
You could
decent amount. Like I don't know how you change the visual of it. I mean, I just don't.
The obvious thing, not the obvious, but one option would be to make it not make the visual impairment not as bad, but buff him in other ways. But
I've heard like I think I've heard people say like it affects the borders of your screen more. It's like a different shape of how like the darkness surrounds you might be more like accessible, but I'm not really sure how you can go about that.
The Dredge one I think is one of those cases where it's not even that there's not a catch-all solution. It's just the solution is just I don't even know what it would be. Which I mean it does suck, but at the same there are limits to it, and because again it's just you can't fix everything, right? the obvious solution would be just have Nightfall not be a thing, but at that point now you're just removing an entire part of the character, especially now that Dredge has been out as long as he has.
I guess there's one more thing I could bring up that I see brought up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is something that is realistic or how you feel about this, but people are like, what if there was 1 to 3 killers you could select to never face?
No.
I'm like, okay, I don't think Blights will ever get matches, Houndmasters, Chucky, there's a lot of killers that people just don't like. And I don't really, like I said before, I think behavior prioritizes queue times over a lot of other things.
I agree with a killer repeat prevention. I do agree with that.
Yes. I agree with that too. I think that would be something cool to have, but not. You would have to wait 2 weeks after a new killer.
I was going to say, yeah, that would be the one caveat. It would have to be 2 weeks after a new killer, at least 2 weeks.
And it would be you can't get it 2 in a row, but then you can get it right after.
Yeah, I think that is perfectly fine. But being able to select specific killers you can't go against, it's one of those things where on paper it sounds great. I would love it, but I know how this community can be, and that's one of those ones that I feel could abuse is the wrong word, but it could actually be used to the detriment of certain specific killers from people who aren't doing it for the correct reasons.
Yeah, and I feel like people bring this up as an option just because of the lack of accessibility options that we have right now. So they're like, maybe this could be quote unquote the easy way for them to do it if adding other accessibility options are too hard.
Yeah, because you brought up Chucky for in that, as far as people don't like playing against Chucky, but I mean, even from the phobia perspective too, there's people who are fear of dolls is way more common than people think.
One of my friends is really scared of Chucky. He couldn't watch those movies growing up, and
I couldn't either.
I've never seen it. I've barely seen any horror movies, I'm going to be honest. I've never seen Chucky. I've never seen Texas Chainsaw. I've never
seen Dead by Daylight fan. I knew it.
Yeah.
No, I was terrified of Chucky as a kid. I was actually terrified of Chucky till I want to say 5 years ago.
It's kind of creepy, right?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Dolls scare me. Oh my god.
There was a lot of criticism for the Dredge skin.
Oh, with all the dolls, yeah.
That is another option we kind of touched on a bit with the phobia filter thing. Is I do think there should be an option to just have killers be their default skin.
Yeah, that would be cool. But I really don't know if Dead by Daylight is capable of having it appear as one thing for other people. I think that might be where an issue lies. But maybe it is possible, and if it is, then I hope to see it added at some point. I'm really hoping that the accessibility changes coming in the future aren't just you can make your game a little brighter. I would be so disappointed if that's the only thing. I'm gonna lose my McFrickin' mind. I don't know.
Well, because again, the thing with this is I don't expect a lot of the stuff we talked about to happen overnight or even anytime soon necessarily, but if over the course of the year we get gamma filters, maybe volume sliders, maybe colorblindness, that alone, some help for hard of hearing people and deaf people. Mm-hmm. That alone would satisfy me at least for a little bit. I'm not saying stop after that, but
let me mute screams, please, 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 please.
It's part of the aesthetic. It's part of the aesthetic.
Why are you playing a horror game if you can't handle screams? I get that one a lot.
I don't know. The same reason I watch horror movies, and even I get a little squeamish sometimes,
Yeah. Or maybe it's just annoying hearing, for 8 hours. Sorry, I play this game a lot.
Well, then see, you play the game too much. That's actually your problem.
All right, time to go play Barbie like I get told.
So, hold up. People tell you to go play Barbie?
Yeah, one time I got told, go play Barbie then, bitch. It was the funniest thing ever.
Hang on a second. I'm looking something up. Hang on a second. Where's my mouse? Okay. Hang on. I'm looking this up for point. Hang on. Barbie games made in 2025. Okay, never mind. They actually made one recent. Never mind. My joke won't work. I was going to say they haven't made a Barbie game in 15 years, but never mind. They have. They still are. I'm not in that scene, I guess.
You're not in the loop.
I don't know.
But you could be. Could be.
You should play a Barbie game on April Fool's next year.
That'd be fun.
Well, Chey, I think we've said mostly all we've needed to say or wanted to say, unless you have anything else you want to add.
I can't think of anything right now.
Because I know these issues are things you've wanted to make. Because you made one video on this, right? At least one.
I did, and I essentially just went over like aura, scratch mark colors, Doctor Plague Dredge, screams, blindness settings, and arachnophobia settings. I think that's essentially what that video was. Like, it just was a quick summary of all those.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry if you hear my cat's auto feeder right now. I don't know if my mic's picking that up.
I can hear it, but it's fine.
It scared me because I have a little audio recording, and it's like, I recorded it, and I hear, it's time to eat. I was like, what the hell was that?
Audio recording on it?
Yeah, so my cats are like more likely to like walk over to it because they hear my voice. I don't know if it actually helps.
That's adorable.
But it scares me.
my cat won't eat unless I pet her, so.
Yeah, they need me to watch them eat. So,
well, yeah, she doesn't.
I have to just sit near them. I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't need to watch me eat. But when I fill her bowl, she won't eat until I pet her.
Yeah, like if I touch them, or like sometimes they just want me to walk out of bed and just like literally just watch them eat for like a second, and then I can leave. I'm like, okay, you're good now.
They want you to protect.
It's like
them.
check. Yeah. But yeah, that's what that video was, and I actually had another. I had like a few other YouTubers like react to it and like give their own suggestions.
Yeah, Naya made a couple video, or Naya made the one video on it as well.
Yeah, and I will say I don't like to bring up accessibility issues without a solution to them, like a possible solution. I don't want to just yell into the void and be like, this is what's wrong with your game. Like, I want to be like, hey, this is how this affects people, and here's a possible solution to it. Because otherwise, I feel like, I don't know, it kind of feels bad if you're just hearing a ton of negative things without any, like, constructive criticism on how to improve it, right?
This isn't...
you're just kind of yelling into the void.
This isn't always the case, but when I was in the military, I had a sergeant who would tell me the difference between complaining and whining is having a solution.
So is complaining having a solution?
Yeah, complaining is having a solution.
Yeah.
Now that's army talk, but like for the internet, the difference between having a valid criticism and just like yelling into the void is having a solution. That's not to say you need to always have a solution, but it does help to further.
I think it definitely does, and then like it could get like people thinking about other ways. Like maybe that's not the best way. Maybe they're like, that's cool, but like maybe if we go in this direction, it might be a little bit better. You know. Mm-hmm.
Which I think happened here. Like because I brought up the whole how other games have handled it, and that helped us think about how Dead by Daylight might be able to, or what they should avoid. And even with like the dredge thing, it's like sometimes there comes a point where it's like with the dredge one for Nightfall, I can't think of a good way to fix it, but I mean maybe someone listening can. It's that's the other thing with it with why I'm not the biggest fan of saying like if you don't have a solution, don't say anything, because I do think there are times when it's fine, but if you're only saying things without a solution, that's when I think there's an issue.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I like to try to present things in like, hey, here's this issue. Or like, here's this thing, here's why it's an issue, and here's how I think it could be fixed. Like, I feel like that's the best way to try to go about, like, things. If you, like I said, presenting things in a non-aggressive manner, if possible. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've ever... People would be like, no, you have to be rude to get results. No, I promise you don't. But yeah, I just think presenting things in that way could lead to more, like you're more likely to get heard and to get responses and for people to take what you're saying seriously.
The problem with being loud and rude about it is you might get what you're asking for, but not the way you wanted it. Because, again, at the end of the day, behavior is a bunch of people. And if a million people are just telling them without any solutions and just being like, add a colorblind mode, we get what
Delete
we
Skull
got.
Merchant.
Or delete Skull Merchant. We get what we got, which was a barely functioning colorblind mode because they just added it in to shut people up. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, humans are resentful. We're spiteful creatures. At least we can be. And again, it's like I work customer service. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a saint. I have definitely done some bad stuff to customers before because they made me very mad.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I know this might sound like, oh, my mom used to say this, like, treat other people how you want to be treated. Like, honestly, like, I feel like empathy is lost a lot of, like, in a lot of cases now online. I don't know. I feel like things feel super negative pretty often. I feel like it's just whatever is negative is what's trending nowadays, and it's kind of sad to see. But there are ways to get things across without being completely negative or rude to others.
But with that said, Chey, I do want to mention I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been saying it wrong for like a year. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Do you want to
ban it?
See, I was gonna say it's Bennett.
Bennett, I was way off.
I've heard Bennett's. I've heard baguette. Someone said baguette once.
I get called chef a lot.
Chef.
Whenever I play Valorant, they call me chef. They're like, yo, chef. I'm like, oh my god.
It's
yeah.
Listen. It's English, okay? Knife makes no sense. Gnome makes no sense. Gnat makes no sense. Okay, it like
chef makes sense, you know.
Why is there a G in gnat? I know the answer. I'm not answering that. It's because it's French. That's why there's a G in gnat.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you did answer it.
Yeah. See, because I hate people not knowing. That's why there's a K in night. It's French.
I'm learning so much. I'm taking notes.
I suck at spelling, so I trained myself to learn the I forgot the word. Crap. The history of words, and that's in English.
Hey, it seems to be helping.
English is such a weird language. American English is such a weird language.
Yeah, the other day I went to say I speak English and I said I speak American. I was like, that sounds so ignorant, but I speak American English, and man, it is not great English sometimes.
If I said blank foil, how do you pronounce the first word in that sentence?
What, blank foil?
Blank foil. It starts with an A. What do you call it?
Aluminum?
No.
Aluminum.
Closer. It's aluminium.
How do you say?
That's not a dialect issue. People say it's not a dialect issue. I mean, we just American English just says the word incorrectly.
I'm DMing you. How do you say that?
How do I say? Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. It's Worcestershire. It's Worcestershire sauce.
Hello, I'm from Massachusetts. That's not how we say that.
I'm from the deep
You
south.
say Worcester instead of Worcester?
Oh
Come on.
How do you say a desert dog? Starts with a C.
What?
A desert, like a dingo, but starts with a C.
Coyote?
Coyote?
Coyote.
I say coyote.
I found this quiz where it's like, depending on how you pronounce things and what you call things, it'll like try to guess like where you grew up, and it was super accurate for me, and it freaked me out.
Yeah, it's like creek instead of
What do you
crick.
call what you get water from in schools?
A water fountain?
Some people call them bubblers.
Bubblers?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's a
What the
term I use for a different activity.
Bubblers?
Or like, what do you call those circles when you're driving, like, and you have to go like
A
through a
roundabout?
circle? The rotaries where I live.
A rotary.
Yeah, rotary.
Okay. What do you call the study of food? This is my favorite one because everyone says it wrong in every language.
What's the study of food? I don't even know I don't know what the word is for that.
The blank arts, like. Okay.
The dark arts?
No,
Dude, what?
most people say culinary arts.
Oh, I'm so silly. I fall asleep to cooking shows every single day. I'm like, what are you talking about? Culinary.
That's not how you say it.
How do you say it?
It's culinary arts.
Yeah, I'm never saying it like that. That's like the guy saying it's pronounced GIF. No, it's not. It's GIF. I don't care. I don't care if you made it. I don't care if that was your intention. It's a GIF. It is not my peanut butter.
So the reason it's pronounced that way is because the first 3 letters are CUE, like a cue ball.
Oh. all the culinary masters say culinary.
It's just. Yeah, that's one of those ones I just default. It's like the aluminium thing. I don't really care how anyone says it.
When you were like, what do you call it? I'm like, tinfoil.
Tinfoil. Like I was in the Pokemon community for years, and let me just say I've learned to just accept some people will say things differently. Okay, I'm not gonna say wrong.
Definitely.
Differently, like Gyarados.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gyarados.
Yeah, no, Gyarados. That's how you.
Oh no.
Oh no, or Arceus.
What?
Arceus. I'm sorry.
Arceus.
Arceus. It's R plus chaos.
Oh, I thought it was Arceus.
Yeah, it's R plus chaos. It's R as in like arcane and then chaos.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and then when you combine it in German, the word actually means goat. Because he's a goat.
German's great. German's great.
Pokemon names are hilarious. Like, not hilarious, but like the amount of effort they put into their names. I know some people think
like you wouldn't think about.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of Pokemon, like this has been with me my whole life. Are you ready?
Sure.
You know the Pokemon movie when they're like, and the world will turn to ash? And they're talking about like the end of the world. Do they mean like it's going to burn and turn to ash, or turn to Ash Ketchum to save it? Oh my god, that blew my mind when I was a kid.
I really think you're overthinking a Pokemon movie.
No, that was very intentional. No. I need my defenders. In these comments.
I can't wait for all the analytical videos for the Minecraft movie. What do you mean by chicken jockey?
I wasn't supposed to throw my popcorn bucket upon hearing that.
It was a call to action for the big wigs, billionaires. That's what it was.
It turned on my microchip in my brain.
It was like the fucking like the Joker movie when everyone was like, "Oh, it's telling everyone to go kill people." No, it's not.
Oh no, it's like the video games and rock and roll cause violence. I don't know. Okay, I think I have to call it here, but thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. What I was trying to say before we do end is I'm glad you came on. I appreciate you giving me your time. It's the most valuable thing we have, and you gave me almost 3 hours of it. And I'm glad I could give you a bit of a way to express this in a because I know you said you've had struggles trying to in like a YouTube sense.
Yeah, like I sent you a bunch of negative comments. I wanted to talk about like how discussing accessibility is like received so negatively, but I also didn't want to just like throw a little pity party that's like, oh my god, I talk about accessibility and people are mean to me. But like I have a lot of people who will like message me or respond to my posts. Like they either message me privately or like respond publicly saying that like they're happy that I speak out because they're too scared to because of the harassment that like they get if they try to talk about it. Like it's kind of wild. I never thought that like people would react so viscerally. I guess is a good way to put it.
It's
when you ask for like a simple change, but like I wanted to like make a video about that and like try to just be like, hey, try to have more empathy, but I was like, it probably won't really change anyone's mind, honestly. I don't think it will, but like occasionally I will have the random person like message me and be like, hey, I thought about what you were saying, and I was like being really rude and not considerate of others, and I apologize, and I'll be like better going forward. Like, someone messaged me like a month ago about that because they were like being really rude to me about accessibility. I was like, wow, thank you. Like, I appreciate the apology, and they've been like nicer to me and others since that I've seen.
Yeah, it's just one.
So like,
it's just one. It's all.
Yeah, and then so I'm like, is it worth making a video? But I also don't want to just like have a video of like 100 negative comments, like where I'm like, these are what people say to me when I try to discuss accessibility. Because I sent you some of them, and some of them are not good. Some of them are weird. Some of them even turn homophobic for whatever reason.
I don't even want to know how, but okay. I don't understand people. I don't understand people.
I don't either. So it was nice to talk about, and I guess that's why I might sound like preachy when I'm like, just try to like be mindful of other people. I don't know. It's just like, if you're already like struggling and having like accessibility issues, and then like you bring it up and you essentially get told this game's not meant for you, you're a baby, you shouldn't be playing this game, like it feels really shitty. It really does. And like maybe that will stop people from playing. And I feel like if you care about the game, you don't want to see that happening. Mm-hmm. And if you care about other people, you probably don't want to see that happening. Especially when there's so much variety and variance in this game. Like there's so many uncontrollable factors. Like it's part of the fun, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of losing my train of thought.
No,
but
I could be more empathetic. That's it. That's it. Just
kind of, yeah.
Not sympathy, empathy. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again, like I touch on it sometimes. I feel like I don't touch on it enough. But I am glad there are people who basically do my job for me and talk about it more than I ever could, and better than I ever could. But again, it was just nice having you want to talk about it. That's really all I'm going to say.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. And if you ever want to chat again, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to have another discussion with you. It's super fun. Of
course, it's nice to actually bring a Survivor player on.
Yeah, I'm a Survivor main. You want to talk about Survivor? I can talk so much about Survivor.
Me and Naya talked about it for 6 hours. I'm sure we could.
Yeah, it was probably a lot of things that I would probably like agree with her on.
It was mostly about solo queue issues. But
I mainly solo queue. Let's go. I need to check that out.
But
the worst part about solo queue is teammates giving up at 5 gens. Sorry.
But go ahead and let you go, Chey. If you want to plug yourself.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, if you want to plug yourself one last time before we end call.
I just took a bite of pizza. Twitch.tv/CHEY. It is pronounced Chey, even though it doesn't look like it. It's short for Cheyenne, if that helps.
And all
my YouTube and Twitter are CheyTTV, because unfortunately other people are named Chey and have sniped that from me.
How dare they be born first? How dare they? I'll have all that linked below. But Chey, again, thank you for coming on. I'll talk to you a little later about some other stuff following this. But to those on the YouTube side who are watching this, I love you guys. Have a good one, and yeah, bye.